this, and I haven't, right? But it'd be interesting to see how many females broadly around the world, what the percentage is that that have been surveyed on this support the trans women identities. It'd be interesting to see that.
Females don't agree. So
I don't think it was like this whole sugar belly if you start having penises.
Wait, one second. So Andrew, so this is a common.
Do you want people in your bathroom that have penises?
Sorry, one second, Jane. So Andrew, a comment people say is like, oh, X number of women agree with this, right? But there's two big problems to that statement. The first problem is individual women cannot consent for other women. So even if you have one woman, two women,
would you have someone in your bathroom?
Jane, just give me a second, please. So even if you have
Sugar Valley loves the debate.
Yeah, Jane.
Yeah, sorry.
Unless you I can do this to you as well.
It's not the only way to be rude is to like call people names or do things.
Don't even do this, Jack.
Jane, just
Jane, I promise you, when you start
you keep saying that, Andrew. Let her land.
Jane, I will talk about.
Yeah, I mean, she is going through this, right?
Her plane has no landing gear.
Well, listen.
You're just gonna crash it into the tower.
Listen, she's refueling midair. Just let her go. And no, it's fine. Go ahead, Sugar, and then we can kick it over to you, Jane. That's fine, or JJ. It's really cool. Just let her go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so women cannot waive the rights of other women. Women cannot consent for other women, and women cannot waive consent for other women. This is a common thing that you see. You see a trans man enter a woman's bathroom and say, oh, my female friend lets me in. Okay, your friend consents in the bathroom, but all the other women don't consent. She cannot waive her consent for her first thing. The second thing is, I think that a lot of people who are in like highly westernized countries, they are kind of delusional about how many women agree or don't agree with this thing. First of all, there are very few Western countries where the majority of women even agree that trans men can be women, right? Let alone the non-Western countries where the rate of people who do not be women is close to like 90-something. So I think that there's a lot of delusion going on about agreements and consensus here.
Okay, let me just quickly respond. So that's the reason I said that about the, it'd be interesting to know what percentage of women who have been surveyed on this are, let's say, females.
There are second plane in the towers.
So let me just real quick. So it'd be interesting to know that. The reason I was just saying that is because the thing that you were putting forward is you're like, look, these women, right, ran out of the room as soon as this trans woman tried to, force their way in. Well, look, I'm just saying, what is that? What were you trying to show there? Because obviously you could take many examples where they would be welcomed, right? And so the point is, I was just trying to give a response to say it'd be interesting, is that there might be a majority, maybe it's a slim majority, right, of people that actually are, female that would say, you know what, actually I am welcoming or affirming of somebody who's a trans woman that wants to be in our spaces, right? I don't know. I haven't looked at the data on that. I'm just saying. But that wasn't really to make any broader point other than that, just to kind of push back on your kind of, the concern point that you're making about how females are interacting there. But your original point was to try to say that this indicates or reveals that these trans women are actually lying because they want to be in these spaces. And I responded to that by saying, no, it can just be, and I think it is, that they just want to be around those that carry the similarities to their own personality, to their own character trait.
People who are similar to them are men, right? It's not.
No, they don't agree.
Yeah, but even if they don't agree, like, it's not nothing to do with
Sugar baby, hang on. Said that Jen could go after Andrew.
Yeah. By all means, Jane, come in. Go ahead.
I don't think that her
Jane, like, you know, let's just interrupt by somebody.
Sugar, I thought you weren't going to interrupt.
I said
She said the opposite. She said she wasn't.
No, I don't think
And after that, Sugar Billy a question, and she was answering. And then David's like, hey, is that someone else?
Now this is not the taste of your own medicine.
Yeah, I don't care if you interrupt.
Yeah, you clearly don't care, but I care too because you were rude.
Man, let that fat brown speak.
How does it feel now?
I don't care.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't care.
how does it feel now? How does it feel now? Stop being over dramatic, sugar bitch.
My issue is that if you're going to implement this rule where people have to use biological criteria to determine which bathroom they're in, I don't think that you're going to like that very much when people with penises start coming into your bathroom.
Don't they already go into our bathroom?
Penises that are going to come to the bathroom are
Females who had bottom surgery and now have penises.
There are no females that have penises even after bottom surgery. All bottom surgery does is it
Big
takes
floppy penises.
all bottom surgery does it takes tissue from either the thigh or the arm to try to fashion a penis, but that is not in fact a penis. A penis
Great.
is
So
an
whatever
organ.
that is that you're so afraid of being raped by, that object, they will have that.
It's not
Whatever you want to
possible.
call it.
It's not possible for
It is actually. If you look into it, they're fully functional.
They're not fully functional.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
They have pumps in them
No,
that
they're
make them erect.
They
All you
literally
need
need
to
to
do is
have
look
a
into
pump in there because it's not functional.
Yeah, they're like a circus clown. They gotta pump it up like a balloon.
Like,
The fact that it
And
needs a
that's what
pump
you're
in
afraid
there.
of, right?
They're gonna make it like a balloon puppy before they have sex with you.
Right?
Nobody's afraid of you freak shows. Like
She's probably a virgin. Sugar Belly, you're probably a virgin. You're afraid of cock. Admit it.
One at a time, please. One at a time.
Oh, not the whore.
The hell is this?
nobody's afraid of your freak show surgery. Like, this is so delusional.
Well, it sounds like you're awfully afraid if you won't even
No, but-
near you.
No, but
She's scared of cock because she's a virgin.
do you agree that whatever?
Yeah, let every woman be like Lush, who's like a slut.
Can you ask that?
Hey guys,
I love cock. I love cock. I love it.
Yeah,
I love cock.
you little whore. You little dick.
Like, imagine people say, "Oh, I think you're afraid of their arm tissue surgery." Like, who's scared of
So,
that?
Sugar Belly, do you agree that whatever biological structure that they have that resembles a penis, do you agree that that can become?
They use a pump. They have to put like some pump in there to like that because it doesn't function. It's not functional.
So is that a yes?
It's a pumped up like piece of arm tissue. I mean, sure, if that's what you want to call it.
So
Yeah.
whatever biological structure it is that they're calling a penis, you agree that
But it's not a penis. It's not a penis.
So whatever biological structure that they call
Yeah,
a
you can make it
penis.
erect. Yeah, you can make it erect.
I don't understand why you're doing all this like evasive rhetoric. I'm not even calling it a penis.
I said you can make it erect. I've said that 3 times.
Okay, so
Okay, so when those people
so the point that she made,
in
and now
the
you can continue,
bathroom,
Jane.
are you going to feel comfortable with them in there?
Because they're women. Yeah, they're actually women. Trans men are women.
And they have the same structure.
Trans men belong in the women's bathroom because no, they don't. Trans men. So 2 things. Number 1,
Are
trans
you
men belong.
denying the fact
Trans
that
men.
I thought that was the whole point. Is that you didn't want people in the bathroom that could harm you.
Excuse
Is
me.
that correct?
No, that is not what I said. Andrew, did you hear me say that? Andrew, did you hear me say what Jane is saying?
I'm sorry. I did.
Are you afraid of getting raped?
Wait, no, come on. Let
Is that the issue?
Jane repeat what she just said. Andrew, did you hear me say what Jane said? Jane, repeat it.
Are you afraid of being harmed by people with that appendage in your bathroom?
I'm afraid of being harmed by actual men.
So even though
Why
these
does it
people
make a
have
difference
appendage
who is
that
harming
functions
you?
in the
It's
same
different.
way,
It's obvious that she's a misogynist, obviously.
Again, if the degree of harm is the same, why does it matter if the person is a man?
So that's a good question, but what the data actually shows is that they could retain the male pattern of sex offending are trans women. So trans men are not a danger to women because they're actually women. They don't have the same rates of sex offending. The people who have the male pattern are trans women. In fact, the UK National Parliament had an inquiry about this because they had a gender reflexive law they were trying to pass. And what the findings show that trans are overrepresented in sex offenders because they're male. So no, I'm not afraid of trans men with their fake penis in the bathroom because they're women. Trans men are women.
It's literally the opposite. Trans people are at risk of being sexually assaulted higher risk than the general population.
Again, so the comparison.
Yeah, you just moved the goalposts, only that's not the point that she made.
Sorry, I just want to point something out. Do you see that?
I said that they're at a greater risk of being
Wait,
sexually
Howard,
assaulted than the
did you
general
see
population.
We're looking
what Sully just said?
when looking at sexual assault between trans and trans women sexually assaults more. That's why she's saying that. I mean,
Exactly.
you
Sully just
just
said
use the goal.
trans people versus the general
Yeah.
population.
Yeah.
But that's not what
It
we're
doesn't
arguing.
matter.
That's not what she's arguing, that Sully. I don't know why you even brought it up.
Like
Even though I'd rather had like 2 functioning brain cells, you don't have to swear at it.
yeah, sure. I haven't insulted anybody here, but everyone here who supports trans has been insulting me, okay? So we're not arguing trans people versus the general population. What we're arguing about is who is a danger to women, right? Between trans women and trans men. And the answer for that, supported by all available data, is that trans women are dangerous to women because they're men. They're male.
What that is.
So, I mean, do with that what you will. Like, trans men are women. They go to the women's bathroom. Trans women are men.
No,
They should
but
be in the
it
men's
doesn't
bathroom. They're
help
special
that you keep.
men.
Yeah, I understand you think that it doesn't help. Like, that's not what I asked. Repeating that over and over again.
No, I'm referring to what James said. Like, I answered what you asked. You asked me if that could become erect. I said yes 3 times, right?
No, I just asked you what data is that.
I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear
Also,
that.
what data is that? I want to
Yes,
see all
so
the available data. What is that data?
this is the inquiry from the UK National Parliament that they had when they were debating their Gender Recognition Act. I'll see if I can find the PDF and like send it to you.
Sure. I mean, I can just go through it.
I don't understand the points that we're saying that trans women are, sexual assault perpetrators at a higher rate than trans men are. Okay. Are they higher rate than cis men?
Well, the point is that cis men
What
are
the findings showed was that they retained the male pattern of offending. So that means that their rates of sexual offending are similar to those cis men, and sometimes they even surpass them in sex offending. And people are threatening me. James is in the chat saying, "Oh, give Sugar Belly surprises." I haven't threatened anybody here just because you oppose like my views. You guys are clearly the violent party, because the second you hear women talking about this thing that you don't agree with, you start with the insults, with the threats, with being violent, being rude. Like, I'm sorry, but that's your business.
I'm sorry, but that's your business.
What I think Sugar Belly's point is that societal norms are not being pushed that cis men should be in vulnerable spaces with women, with cis women, right? That's what Sugar Belly is saying, is that there's no societal norms are allowing this, but we are now allowing trans women into cis women spaces that can potentially have a harming effect on women. And so Sugar Belly is saying, hey, listen, I would rather be more comfortable with a trans man who has a fake penis from their arm and have this balloon thing that they have to pump up, rather than a trans woman who potentially has, again, the capabilities of what a man has right there. Again, they're still going to be stronger than a trans man because they still have the body structure, bone density, and usual strength of an average man, especially if they transition later on in life. So these things do matter to cis women, because again, these are their spaces, and the idea that we're creating societal norms that should allow this is really interesting to me.
The safest is when nobody's in the bathroom. So I think you should all get the fuck out of my bathroom.
The other thing that's crazy is it's like, typically people who are getting somebody in the bathroom don't really give a fuck what the sign on the door says. It's like, it's kind of fucking ridiculous.
The other issue with requiring the biological criteria to determine which bathroom you're in, now, at least, if you are, quote unquote, look like a woman, that's a criteria that you can kind of use to determine if you're in the right bathroom. If she's going to refuse that and require that trans men are in the women's restroom and they look like men, now a regular cis man can just walk into a women's restroom. And what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to determine the difference between a trans man and a cis man when they're in the bathroom if you're requiring the trans men to be there? I don't understand.
Yeah, but that's already happening right now, Jane, in the opposite. I can say the exact same point on the opposite side, which is that me as a cis man could say I identify as a woman and go to the women's restroom, and the societal norm is that we should accept that. Pretty much, if you're gross and you look like a man, don't go into a women's restroom. Even if you're a trans man, really, we should ostracize these people away from our societies. These people are detrimental. These people have mental issues, and these people are harmful. Whether or not they're doing something harmful by sexually abusing. I'm so sorry that the middle of my sentence cut off the beginning of your sentence, but please let me finish.
You should get far more sorry. You should get way more sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Everyone. I'm so sorry.
Continue to be sorry.
The middle of my sentence cut off the beginning of your sentence too, JJ.
Is that possible?
Real quick, which is that. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I was gonna finish, and then I've been interrupted now multiple times. Can we allow just the?
We do have to let him finish.
Andrew, do you want to let him talk about how we can kick trans people out of our society? Is that what you want to have in this room?
Well, I think he needs to be on
We call them all gross.
That's just
Why is
They
that?
are gross. They are gross and disgusting.
Eliminated.
Well,
I want this, then you're right.
hold on.
I do want to know though. What about does he want?
Man, it's crazy that liberalism. I cannot believe I have still not been able to finish my point. I mean, JJ, you can say you already know, but then that means that you're assuming. And assumptions make an ass out of me and you. So let's finish the issue. Let's finish. Let's finish.
Am I typically correct?
In the same way that he needs to be able to finish saying that if he wants to say that he thinks it's gross and that the people are pushing this, it's gross, and then people want to say that he and people like him are bigots. Obviously, that's going on both sides. I think we do need to let him finish, and then we can respond. Go ahead, Keegan.
Finish his extent that he wants them eliminated from society.
So,
He didn't say that.
I just want him to be.
I never said that.
How do you
He
want
didn't
to
say
Quicker, guys, I would have already had finished my point. I'm a very short-winded individual. I don't speak a lot.
Let him finish. He didn't say. Don't misrepresent what he said. He didn't say that. He said they're gross, and we should not encourage that or not. Shun them away and remove them from society.
Remove them. That's okay.
Okay, if I can finish now, and again, I am short-winded. I don't take these long intermission breaks like maybe Sugar Belly or maybe some others. But when you continue to interrupt me, again, I cannot believe this. No one would have totally fine. But we can't have. I don't need to answer you during my.
If your goal is to change his mind, Jane, this isn't gonna be useful, right? We're not gonna have a good dialogue. We can't just like chill and let him finish. Go ahead.
If you think that it's possible to change his mind, then you're very naive.
Okay, well
Then what are you doing?
I'm doing this for other people other than you.
Okay, well then, but you're actually making it very hard for anybody to get anything. You're both talking at the same time.
I just want to know how he wants to remove them from society.
And he just wants to finish what he's saying.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you can hear my submission. Maybe you can hear my submission, and you can have your answer. But again, these assumptions have been made. So what I wanted to say was that not just what Sugar Belly has been saying, which is that there's this idea that we should be affirming these individuals. But in my opinion, these people are detrimental to our society, whether or not they are acting in malicious behavior, whether or not they're committing crimes or not. This type of ideology, which is an ideology that again contradicts human nature, we should not encourage, and we should ostracize these individuals from society. Now, eliminating and killing them, not at all. But
How are you
opening
going
up
to
and
remove them then?
but oh my goodness, I cannot believe that the middle of my sentence started during the beginning of your sentence. I don't know what I'm doing here. The point is that Andrew, I appreciate Andrew, but I can't appreciate anyone else in this room because if you have echo chambers, do you guys like echo chambers?
How is he not done, guys?
Trolling.
Because you interrupt. Because you guys interrupt the whole time. What do you get up right now? Finish. I get interrupted over and over again.
No.
Okay, I let you talk and you didn't answer. So if you could please explain how you want to remove them
Sorry,
from society
apparently I was
if it's not killing them.
Okay, look, he needs to be able to finish, and you say you let him talk, Jane, but I said to let him talk until he's done, and people are interrupting.
Oh, until he's done, so he could just talk for the next 10 minutes.
He's not going to do that.
I haven't even talked. I talked for like a minute and then I get interrupted.
Yeah, so come on. I mean, and you can respond this same amount of time or more. Okay, Jane, it's fine. I'm sure you want to let him go.
Come on.
If you don't want to do that, JJ, it's fine. But the point is, we can't do this like hyper micromanaging of people. That I don't think he isn't
He
longer.
could have answered 10 times over.
He's not trying to answer you. He's not trying to answer you.
Me. He's not answering me.
Look.
That's what I'm saying. He could have answered
his
me.
goal. That's not his goal.
Well, is his goal to go back and repeat himself?
All he's doing is
He's just going back and reiterating what he already said.
Because I'm trying to get back on my train. I keep getting derailed.
I mean, with all due respect, Sully, there are people that I think, I don't know, maybe you don't have respect for them, but they hold the same position that he does, okay? And people that I think you would consider friends of ours. So he doesn't like, he's
Not friends of mine, dude.
okay.
Yeah, not for them solely. Come on.
I don't want to turn it into a personal issue and start naming names, but I think that's a weird thing to say.
Nope. I'm not friends with anybody who thinks that's Harry.
Okay, you're not friends with anybody who thinks that this is that corrosive.
I think trans people are disgusting.
That it is something that is detrimental and is not good for society, and it is something that should be opposed.
He said remove from society.
He literally was defining. He was trying to say, look, I said not do anything, nothing like
He
that.
said remove from society. You're just whitewashed.
He's going in to explain that. No, and then he's going in.
He wasn't going to explain
He
that.
didn't explain it at all.
Oh my gosh, you guys really think he's trying to do like
He literally said, I don't want to answer that. He said, I don't want to answer that.
It's eugenics. I actually want, you're right, Jane. I want a genocide. I want to murder and kill and pillage every. No, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. What I actually meaning, and I'll just go straight to Jane's answer. How do we?
Oh, wait,
Yeah, that'd be great. We should do 2 minutes for everyone.
2 minutes.
Make the timer on.
Uncomfortable for people, like I get it, I totally get it. But if you interrupt him, because I want him to get it over with. If you interrupt him and you have literally like 1 minute, single, whatever, if you interrupt him, even if I adore you, Jane, I will move you down and bring you right back up what he's done. Because I want him to get this minute over with. Finkel, you have 1 minute to make it plain. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. So, the way that I would remove transgenders and any ideology of that matter that I would deem unfit for our society is number one is I would not make it any form of societal norms. I would discourage this behavior through education and through hopefully social trends. Number two is I would open up insane asylums again. I would require mental institutions for individuals who cannot change because of an actual mental disorder like gender dysphoria. Those are the ways that I would, as an individual, change our society. For the better, everyone. This is for the better.
All right, thanks, Jen. Did you want to respond to that?
No, I'm fine. He gave me my answer. I'm good. He wants to institutionalize them. Thank you.
Sorry, can you add me to the queue?
Yeah, let's see. It's Spike here. Spike's not here. JJ, you want to weigh in, bro?
I have a couple questions. Is he still here?
Hit it, Chewy.
Yeah, never left.
Yeah, I hear you. You said that they're disgusting because they identify as a certain gender. I get that straight.
No, they look disgusting.
Oh.
Like a personal preference.
Well, so what do you want to do about the cis women who embrace their hairy chests and big beautiful beards?
Well, that was just a personal comment that they look disgusting.
Yeah. You just want to get rid of disgusting people?
No, I didn't say the reason why I wanted to get rid of the trans
I'm
people
asking
because
you.
they're disgusting. No, I don't want to get rid of disgusting people. I just think they're disgusting.
So it's because just because they want to use another pronoun that you don't agree with?
No, I believe that ideology breeds really destructive natures into individuals. Suicide goes up, drug use goes up. These things are bad. We should not encourage them.
And just to be clear, JJ,
You want to get rid of them because you don't want them to commit suicide?
I want to get rid of them in our society. I don't want them to be dead. I want them to not encourage other individuals into their lifestyle.
I'm sure they'll be a lot happier once
How
they
do you do that?
institutionalize them.
Encourage?
Yeah,
You think they're encouraging
How
people?
that's supposed to work?
So I'm Gen Z, and I know that maybe a lot of you are millennials and older than that. But as a Gen Zer, I know people because Gen Z, fun fact, identify well over almost 1/3 of us identify in the LGBTQ community. So I know a good amount of people, and we have been encouraged. I mean, the rates have only gone up in identification rather than has stayed stagnant. So this is why I would say we need to stop encouraging this behavior.
Forced? Like, what do you
Yeah,
mean
this-
coercion?
Coercion definitely happened, I
Did
believe.
it make you want to go and get a sex change?
No, not me.
No, and perhaps the people that do want to get a sex change just want to get a sex change, because it was their choice.
Yeah, those individuals have a mental disorder and should be treated as such.
They weren't forced or coerced.
Well, some people were, some people weren't. But the people who weren't, they should be in a mental institution and should be treated as that.
What do you think? What do you think? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Put in a mental institution, because by what you're saying, it's like people with like depression. I mean, like a lot of people have mental issues where completely like gender, I don't know, normal compared to what you're saying. So what do you think should happen to all those people?
Are you saying other people with other mental disorders like schizophrenia and such should? Yes, I do also believe that as well.
No, they don't have to be institutionalized. You're ignorant.
This guy is going to be like really disappointed when he finds out what the standard for intervention is for trans people.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't understand this point of saying yes, they should receive the appropriate psychiatric care. What do you think that is?
Well, the appropriate psychiatric care of 2026 is much different than what, hopefully, again, in my perfect ideal world, of what my psychiatric care would be for them.
Okay.
I understand, but you're going to talk about what your psychiatric care is. Are you a psychiatrist?
This guy is a fucking.
Man, Jane, you should actually ask this guy about Chad fishing.
No, but like Finko, Keeganstein, like why should anyone care about what you have to say? Are you a psychiatrist?
Right, listen, he's a loser and a virgin. How you guys doing?
Andrew, what's your view?
This is like silly. It's like, I think they should have the appropriate psychiatric care. Actually, wait. No, I don't think they should have that. They should have my psychiatric care.
Well, the appropriate psychiatric care is the reason why we're here. Again, the appropriate psychiatric care that you believe has affirmed their belief in delusion, and I say I don't agree with that.
Which is bad news for you.
You don't even understand what happens in the therapy when you're working with somebody with the dysphoria. You're wrong. You're just
Yeah, he's
You're
extremely
all-
ignorant.
No, but what's funny about these conversations is like, oh wow, we're gonna appeal to the data. We're gonna look at the data and the empirical science. What does that tell us? Oh, they commit they're so and such, and they have such and such issues. And or it's like, okay, so what do we do with them? No, don't look at the data. Look at my asshole. That's where you'll find the problem.
Look at my asshole.
I'd like to say something.
Do you mind put some input in just for a second?
Yeah, that's what I was asking what the cue was. Like,
Sure, if you want to.
Hi, Sailor.
Hi. So, I'm gonna close the door. I'm putting on makeup in the background. I promise you, I'm not doing other activities.
I think that I am not. I don't want to say I'm against people doing transgender surgery. The only reason why I don't want to say against it. I think it's a negative thing, is because of all the things that it takes to make the transition, like how much medication you have to take, how much issues can arise, like all the things. I just don't think that that's a very good and healthy thing, and I think that the only people that really benefit are the pharmaceutical companies from that. Nevertheless, even though I think that that's a really bad idea, I think that if we're living in a world that Kim Kardashian wants to put a big ass on and people want to get big ass tees, then anyone can do whatever they want. We have no right to say, like, okay, this is permissible, these alterations are permissible, this alteration is not permissible, you're taboo, you need to be eliminated. Either you make that, you don't be a hypocrite, you make that all across the state board when it comes to cosmetic surgeries, or you mind your own business. That's my...
I completely agree. We should have authoritarianism.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna preface what I'm saying by saying that I don't agree with Finkel. I honestly, like, I can't even believe, like you said, that I don't think that trans people need to be gotten rid of from society. Like, that's crazy. And I also don't think that they should be institutionalized. Like, that's also, like, ridiculous. I think that the problem that we're having is that instead of people solving the problem that trans people are facing, they're doing the thing that society has done with, like, a lot of other problems, and that is dumping it on women, right? So one of the big issues that trans people are facing is that they face a lot of violence. I don't know who was that tried to bring up the point. I think it was Sully, but he brought it up in the wrong context. The violence that trans people face is overwhelmingly and predominantly violence from males, right? Violence from men. When they say, oh, you know, X number of trans people were killed in this particular year, virtually all of them were killed by men. Like, when trans people face hostility, like, they're facing violent hostility mostly from men, right? So there's a serious problem where everybody ignores this because they're too busy trying to, you know, stuff trans women in women's spaces under the claim of trying to make them safe. Nobody's holding men accountable for their unwarranted violence against trans women or, like, even other trans people, like trans men, right? Nobody's, like, you know, putting pressure on men to change their behavior and to stop allowing their homophobia make them go and harass a trans woman who's minding his business, you know, peeing in the men's bathroom. They say, oh, the men's bathroom is not safe for trans women. Why is it not safe? The reason why it's not safe is because his fellow men inside the men's bathroom, instead of them minding their business and peeing, they're going to try and menace him because they don't like the fact that, you know, his presentation is feminine. That is the real source of the problem, right? And you can't solve that problem by taking away women's rights, by making women more unsafe or inconveniencing women just because you want to keep, you know, trans women safe, because that's not fair. Right? So that's to the first thing. And then to what Stella said about the surgeries, I also partially agree in the sense that everybody who's an adult should be able to do whatever surgery or whatever thing they want to do. It's not anybody's business, really, like what surgery or thing that you want to do. However, the problem is that, you know, these are billed as sex change surgeries, and the surgeries are completely ineffective for the purpose of changing sex, right? And it's not even the fact that people are doing the surgeries or they're presenting how they want to present that, like, anybody has a problem with. It's the consequence of that. So basically, somebody lies down on an operating table, you know, that person is a man when they lie down. They wake up from that operating table and they say, as a consequence of me having done this surgery, right, to appear more feminine, now give me access to things that have been reserved for females, despite the fact that the surgery did not change my sex at all, because in human beings it's completely impossible to change sex, right? So just because I now, you know, I've done some cosmetic or, like, you know, surface level changes to look female, give me things that are meant for females. And that's where the problem is.
Like what?
2 minutes to you guys get the chance, if you don't mind.
Like what that is meant for females.
Sorry, what did you say?
Like what that is meant for females exactly.
Yeah, so for example, the identification of females, right? So basically call me a woman, or allow me to participate in sports that are meant for females, allow me to be imprisoned in a prison that is meant for females, right? We all have real life cases of these instances happening. There's many documented cases. Some of these cases are even in court.
I'm actually a little shocked because heterosexual people, we don't have these conversations. If I go on a date with a man and I say, "Excuse me, honey, I'm going to the bathroom," He can make an ass out of himself and assume that I'm going to go to the women's bathroom. And if he gets up out of his chair and says, "Excuse me, darling, I'm going to head to the bathroom, the restroom," I'm going to make an ass out of myself and assume he's going to go into the men's room. I'm just gonna make an ass out of myself. So what's been created here is just a propagated gay agenda. Because people want to be seen, and people want to be heard, and people want to be felt. You didn't like being a man, so you want to try being a woman. And most of the time, when these men go try to be a woman, they don't get treated any better than when they were a man. And really and truly, shouldn't we be questioning why are men running away from being men? Let's talk about that. Why are YT men? Hello. Why are YT men away from being a man? Did you not like what Elinity brought in? Because I could have sworn patriarchy. Okay, here we go. Here we go. There we go.
So you think?
Okay, all right. You want to shut up long enough so I can talk?
No.
No?
Actually.
Yeah? Okay, good. All right, Bobby
This
boy.
isn't like a yapping
Thank you very much, Bobby boy. I'm sorry. Are you a crossover? Which one are you? Just let me know. Are you?
That's just my view to the audience. So this isn't a space where you just get to endlessly yap. I get that you've been like conditioned from other rooms on Clubhouse where for some inexplicable reason the norm has become like everyone just gets to land their fucking plane. I gotta land the plane.
Just get to the point, Bob.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I don't care about landing the plane. I don't care about like pointless rhetorical appeals to I need to say all the things that I had queued up in my brain. The point was landed. So just FYI. But we get the point. But that appeal is just brain dead because nobody researching any of this, like psychiatrists and scientists were researching this. Nobody thinks that the reason people are trans is because like being this and that like maybe they were unsuccessful as men and now they need to be women. Nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that's the cause of like transgenders and gender dysphoria. So those points are like entirely hollow and pointless.
Yeah, so I'd like to, like you just said, Bob. It is due to trauma. Specifically, my past. The stuff that
I have no idea where you are.
Yeah. So it's in fact due to trauma, and it's 100% is because people running away from their past selves.
Okay, that's more interesting than what the other person said. That's. Why do you think when the people who are trained in evaluating these things, why do you think none of them come trained? Or some of them do, but the vast majority of them don't. They have like different explanations, different stories to tell.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Show me the evidence.
Okay, right. All right. Let me give you some.
Yeah, show me the evidence that says like a majority of psychiatrists in this particular field and researchers in this field, the story that they tell is like, all trans people. The reason that they're trans is because of trauma. You're never gonna find that, by the way.
I just feel like if somebody goes to the length of...
I just want to finish because trans people literally say the shit out their mouth. They say it out loud, bro.
Yelling over me while
No.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad to hear
they say it out their mouth. They say it's trauma out their mouth.
Oh, get rid of this.
Whether y'all like it or not.
That's like
you can come back.
I don't know what's wrong with you. I assume some trans people do. They think that. I'm just saying that's not what the medical science is attributing gender dysphoria to causally.
I just feel like
I don't care about your anecdotes. So you guys.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I was just making sure because the app's been glitching, so I wasn't sure. I feel like if you do like your due diligence to remove your organ, like you can come in the bathroom with me. Like if you don't have a dong anymore, okay, I should use better words. But if you don't have a penis anymore, come on.
Works.
Yeah, like you went all the way to that extent. Come right on it. But the one thing that I'm not sure about that I think about and research is what you said about like sports and stuff. I don't know about that one yet. I have to know more. It might be a good point that you're making. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so the sports one, ironically, has been the most visible aspect of the whole like trans, versus no against trans battle. I think that for years, like in the past several years, maybe past 10 years or so, the whole argument on battle was kind of happening under the radar because, it was mostly about bathrooms, it was about like other things. It wasn't really until it started to lead to sporting conflicts that suddenly the general public really became like super aware of the whole thing. But the popular examples are, for example, the Leah Thomas one. Leah Thomas is a swimmer for, I think, Penn. Somebody correct me. Is it Penn State, Penn University, Penn State? And he was a male swimmer before. He wasn't doing very well as a male swimmer. He, claimed that he identifies as a woman, switched to the women's team, and suddenly started coming first, right? Suddenly started winning things. And the female swimmers complained about this, and they were told off by the school. They were branded as transphobic and so on and so forth. There's been other examples. I think there were two boys who were running. They switched to the female, track running thing, and then they came first and second. The girls who came third and fourth, who should have come second, they lost out on academic sportships at university because the boys basically came first and second. The other famous cases, I think it was the past Olympics, not this most recent Olympics. There was the Olympics before that Olympics. There was a weightlifter from, I think, New Zealand. I can't remember his name, but if you remember his name, please write it. But basically, he qualified for the Olympics in the female category, and that caused the female weightlifter from New Zealand who would have gotten that spot to not get, she couldn't get into the Olympics because he took her spot, right? So there's many famous sports cases that you can look up.
Thanks, I'll look into that. Do you all want me to let, I guess, is she back on stage or no, I don't see her?
That doctor person does not need to be on.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to, but what Bob said earlier, real quick, because I don't want to get off the topic of what Bob said, which is that Bob said that there's no form of data that prove anything that we are saying. But Dr. Deborah So, who wrote a book called The End of Gender, and in the book she states multiple clinical trials, clinical studies, and a study that she done herself. She's a neuroscientist, sex researcher. She talked about the rapid onset of gender dysphoria in teenage girls, and she saw, and this is what many of the studies showed, that they were showing girls with no form of child dysphoria suddenly identifying as trans, and then their friend group alongside them would usually get around 30% of them would all of a sudden identify as trans with them. And so they found that social influence on the children, because of, again, their lack of maturity in their mind, can have a really large effect on this. So there is forms of coercion and social influence that I think plays a part in these new identifications of what trans.
I mean, what I said was you're not going to be able to show that there's some broad consensus or significant number of researchers believes this. And I specifically made an exception to say I'm sure there are individuals who claim otherwise.
Well, there's not claims, there's been multiple studies.
No, it is a claim. That book is enormously controversial in the academic literature, and the vast majority of researchers do not agree with their conclusions or nor the data that's been presented.
So
if it even is data to that degree.
The book is
Wait, sorry, I have a question. Well, how did you find out that the vast majority of researchers do not agree? Did you get that information from?
Oh, because the standard of care in almost every Western country is gender affirming care.
Yeah,
Wait, how
been thrown out now as a result of this bad
I just want to ask you a question, please. I just want to ask you a question, please. So you're going by the current standard of care, right? But the current standard of care is, okay, they've introduced that, but that doesn't tell you whether or not the vast majority of researchers agree or disagree. Because
what do you think that standard of care is based on?
No. So what I'm saying
politics
is that
and ideology.
Yeah. Wait 1 second. So what I'm saying is that if if the vast majority of researchers actually agreed, there wouldn't be this constant back and forth push-pull happening in the medical community and happening in the scientific community and happening in like the political sphere.
Those are mostly about minors. There's very, very little push and pull about adults or the efficacy of gender affirming care in general.
Oh no! So I'm so sorry. Are you aware that back in July, the Federal Trade Commission, right? They basically had a whole a conference about the ideological capture of gender affirming care, and they were talking about the surgeries for adults where they had doctors coming to give testimony and so on and so forth, because they felt that like these gender affirming surgeries.
The propaganda piece put out by the Trump administration.
No, like this Trade Commission though, like their issue. The reason why they have
which body does the Federal Trade Commission belong to?
Finish the sentence, then you can tell me what's wrong with it. Okay.
No. Which body does the Federal Trade Commission belong to?
The sentence about what they were doing, and then you can tell me if there's a problem.
Well, first of all, what's wrong with it is that you're bringing it up.
Oh my God! Excuse me.
That you're pointing it out. That you're appealing to it.
That's finish? Like what is going on?
I'm telling you what the problem is. The problem is that you're talking about it.
Are you going to like kids?
Do you hear what I'm saying?
If I interrupt you when you're speaking,
you don't need to finish. You don't need to finish for the problem to be pointed out.
Are you going to have to interrupt you when you're speaking?
You're making AJ,
as I was saying, right? The issue that the Federal Trade Commission was having at this conference that they had, where they had doctors and scientists and everything and whatever, was that they felt that these gender-affirming surgeries, right, were being, portrayed to the adults who were doing them as, this is going to change your sex, right? And they're not effective. Like it doesn't actually change your sex, and it was like customer misrepresentation. I'll find the link page and I'll post it in the chat.
No, I'm already aware of this. Like you don't need to. Like what that was a propaganda piece by the Trump administration to kind of in their broader efforts to like demonize and stigmatize trans people.
It is easily suggested what you're saying is propaganda. You know, propaganda because
let's just get rid of this piece of trash garbage.
Why are we just kicking people out, Andrew? As a moderator?
Because of normal is a piece of garbage.
School, you're next.
No, look.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and just guess.
They don't agree with.
Bob's a terrible Bob. I'll be honest.
So,
Bob, you're a faggot.
Few things.
Yeah, get rid of Pinkle. You just called Bob.
Don't slur Pinkle.
These people are so Eastern sugar. It's first of all that FTC commission, that FTC get together was just a direct instruction by the Trump administration to put together something. They just like cherry picked a few experts, gave testimonies. Like one of the testimonies was, well, nobody's born with gender dysphoria. Like, how the fuck do you know that? And then they just made claims. None of that was substantiated in the data. We have meta-analyses of like some 70, 100 studies that all point in the same direction. Very, very, very few studies point in the other direction. And that research is what informs intervention and medical guidelines in Western nations. And that's where I get my idea of where the consensus is from.
Did you heard what?
How do they have thousands of
No. So you heard what was being, what was being appealed to.
Really easy.
You know what was being appealed to there, though, is that there was some sort of false advertising that they call it a sex change, but you don't really change your sex, and that that this is some kind of I don't know.
I don't even know what line that's supposed to be.
Law breaking or fraud or something. That's just ridiculous. I'm not even sure if that's what that particular conference or study, whatever, said, but that's what she was just appealing to, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, even if you think that's true in the U.S. and there are 8 linguistic maneuvers you can do in the English language to make people believe it. Like we see the same thing. Like Swedish doesn't have a word for gender. Like there's just one word and it's sex. There's no other gender word that you can use to kind of make these moves. And that's the case for a lot of these languages. And we see just the same thing in their medical communities and in their psychiatric intervention guidelines. So I don't have any reason to think that this particular objection has any merit.
I'm sorry, like this conversation.
Kind of like where people, it's impossible for them to change their chromosome. So if they were born with X,
they don't think that they're changing their chromosomes.
Or change their chromosomes. Is that right?
They know that. They know that.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, like what is it seems that what is happening here is that you are dismissing everything that you don't agree with out of hand. So, I don't
No, I'm going to interrupt you because you're just being dishonest. I didn't dismiss it out of hand. I gave several reasons for why I dismissed it.
But the reasons that you're giving, right, don't actually address the main issue that was raised.
Okay, so we agree it wasn't out of hand, right? I gave reasons. You simply disagree that they're good reasons.
You're not addressing the actual issue that was raised.
No, but we disagree that I didn't dismiss them out of hand. You just disagree that my reasons are good reasons.
Fine, even if you want to say you didn't dismiss them out of hand, you're still not.
Okay, I just wanted to address that blatant dishonesty.
You've addressed it, so can we actually talk about the issue that was
Which
raised?
issue? No, what are you talking about? There were several issues that were raised. Which one are you talking about, Sugar Belly?
Sorry, JJ,
Please,
so interrupt me for the second time.
JJ, please don't do
JJ, the next time you start speaking, I'll start speaking over you. Because I don't know you and I haven't been rude to you, but you've done this to me several times. The next time you come off your mic, I'll speak over you.
I just asked you a question, and then you started speaking over me. So
don't ask the question because that makes it three-way, which is more complicated. Bob and Sugar Belly, go ahead.
It's not a three-way. I want to know, what did he not address? She said you didn't address the issue.
Bob can do that.
But he's not doing it.
You interrupted
So I just
last time.
No, I didn't interrupt.
Yeah. Please leave it alone, please. Let Sugar Belly and Bob go ahead.
It's
Yes.
Are we gonna wait?
So as I was saying, right, the issue is that people are having these surgeries, right? So somebody is a man or boy, whatever you want to call them, and the person has the surgery, and what their belief is, based off everything that they've conversed with the doctor and so on and so forth, the reason why they're going ahead with it is because they want to be a woman, right? So they're doing the surgery so they can become a woman. But the surgery is not capable of making them a woman.
Yeah, but this is just an equivocation on women. They don't think it makes them a biological woman.
So that is the claim,
so
right?
You're just confused.
No, I'm not confused because
yes,
we can.
I just told you why.
Excuse me, Bob. So I've been quite polite. You haven't insulted anybody on this stage just because I disagree with them.
I didn't insult you either.
You just tried to say you're like, oh, you're confused. Like, can you not make personal?
That's not an insult.
Don't make personal comments about me. Address what I'm saying, okay?
That is addressing what you're saying.
I finish.
What do you mean?
They were being antagonistic for no reason.
Oh, it's not for no reason.
Please mute your mic because I'm speaking. It's my thank you. So as I was saying, right? Even when you claim that they don't think that they're a woman, we can see based off their actions that they think that they're a woman, or they think that at least people should think that they're a woman. Why? Because after they do the surgery,
I heard you make this point with the bathrooms. No, but I heard you make this point. I heard you make this point about the bathrooms.
You're interrupting me.
But I'm giving you the reason why I'm interrupting
me, and you're being antagonistic to me because you don't agree with what I'm saying.
I'm not being antagonistic.
You are being antagonistic.
I'm just saying. I heard you make this point earlier.
You could think that in your mind without telling me that. You're being antagonistic.
No, I'm telling you so you don't repeat yourself needlessly.
You are antagonizing me because you don't like what I'm saying.
No. I'm interrupting you because I've already heard you make this point.
You are antagonizing me. You're interrupting me for no reason.
No, I just stated the reason. I didn't remove her. I just stated, I don't understand why these people are so insane. No, I get it. I don't understand why these people are so insane. First of all, I didn't interrupt you for no reason. I gave you the reason. This is the same confusion that you found yourself in, just a couple of minutes ago when you said I dismissed your concerns out of hand, which I didn't, and we agreed that I did. I didn't interrupt you for no reason. I interrupted you to tell you, hey, you made this point earlier, you need to repeat it. I caught it the first time you said it, and you're like, why are you're being antagonistic? I'm like, no. You're saying, yeah, I got got that point. Do you want me to address it? Do you want maybe make another point? But you don't need to repeat the same point that everyone has already heard. Like you wanted to say that, yeah, they think that they're women, and the reason they think that they're women is because they demand access to spaces that belong to biological women. And so you brought up the example with the Korean spa, the Wii spa. Like I heard it, I get it. But that doesn't mean that they think they're biological women. What they think is, I should have access to the same space as biological women in some cases. That doesn't mean that they think they're biological women. So come back up and address that, because like you were obviously equivocating, just like everyone who is in room 10 for sure I can't say.
Also, Rico wanted to speak like half an hour ago.
Who?
Rico.
Rico,
whatever. Rico.
Oh yeah, I'm
sure he has a lot of good things to say.
No, I've
Sorry, excuse me, Andrew.
Andrew, when you saying he's been much better.
This room, if you're more than going to answer, then I disagree.
I didn't antagonize you, and I just explained. I didn't drop you. You insane person. And you were dropped. You insane person. Yes, now I am insulting you. You insane person. I told you when you were dropped. You insane person. I told you when you were dropped. I specifically said when you were dropped. I didn't drop you. Like you have like an insane hearing comprehension problem. If this is like the fourth time. Something that you should have been able to
just
internalize. Given that you're, let me just remove this retard. Given that you understand and you seem to be like not completely, bereft of cognitive faculties.
Wait a little bit longer, Bob.
I'm so incredulous. I'm actually just like.
Bob, that you're drawing some of the fire. They're calling you a racist in the chat. That really kind of.
I don't care about that. That's just like obviously empty rhetorical appeal. There's no reason to think anyone say
Bob. It makes me happy.
Oh,
is it?
Obviously, that's weird.
Right, it is definitely.
Right.
So I think you should stop responding to her though.
I rebel in the detraction from myself. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, Bob, you're a racist.
The reason I call this person insane is because I specifically told them that I did not drop them. And they come up with the first thing they say is like, you're antagonistic, you dropped me. And I'm like, at that point, like, what is the use of talking to this person?
Hey, Bob, man. If they don't consider themselves biological women, then why do they want biological women access?
Because they feel more comfortable in those spaces.
That's what I said earlier too. Just to be clear, are we doing a forgiveness program, Bob?
And the male spaces that they usually would have, what they would have go into are dangerous for them.
So they have. Wait. So you're telling me, Bob, as a male, that if I see another male in the bathroom house with me and they got chest and a penis, I'm gonna do something to them?
Yo, what's up? No, what?
Are you?
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying trans people run a much higher risk of getting assaulted by men in the male spaces that they're in than women have.
I'm asking you.
That women have of getting assaulted. That women have of getting assaulted.
I'm asking you as a male because I'm an individual, right? And I am a male.
Right.
Do you really think I'm about to go out my way to beat up a gentleman that has titties and a dick?
None of us know who you are.
No. So do you understand when I say they're at higher risk, that doesn't mean you as an individual are going to do anything. It's like averaged out to populations. I'm saying there's a higher risk. By that, I don't mean any individual man is going to do anything. Understand how that works?
So what are they afraid of?
Like if I say like motorcycle riders are at higher risk of being in car accidents caused by others, it would be really silly of you to say like, well, do you think that I would go and like smash my car into a motorcycle? That's the level you're at.
So are you saying that men are at risk at getting harmed by other men?
I'm saying that trans women run a much higher risk of assault and sexual assault and regular assault.
Trans women have their bathrooms then.
No, I'm not opposed to that. I'm just telling you the reason they don't want to. Legalists. Can you check? Well, I was asked the question of why they don't want to go into the male spaces, and I'm just giving you the answer.
Well, the only reason I'm asking these questions, Bob, is because men has dressed in drag for centuries and always went into the bathroom that coincide with their genitalia.
No, they haven't. Like before, like 2016, 15, the 2010s, that decade. Before that decade, when the trans thing became this
I said
rhetorical tool
drag,
that. No, I understand what you said. I heard what you said. I'm saying before the 2010s, when the trans issue became this culture war ammo that conservatives like to swing with. Trans women and trans men went into the respective bathrooms of their assigned sex, and nobody fucking assigned like the opposite of their preferred gender, and nobody gave a fuck. Nobody fucking cared.
What class
This was happening for many decades, and nobody gave a shit.
What's the standard to be trans? Because there's a difference between trans and drag.
I didn't talk about drag.
I'm asking you what's the standard of trans, because if you're telling me this is a trans
people, the drag queens don't identify as women.
If you're telling me that
they don't,
if you're telling me that the person is trans, Bob, and they did not get a sex change, then to me they're in drag.
What?
Well, you go with your bad self.
I don't know what you're saying.
If you tell me a person is a TS person and they did not get a sex change, Bob, then they are in drag.
No.
Saying they lack the commitment, so they shouldn't get.
I'm not saying that. A drag is a person who identifies as a man and otherwise performs as a man, except for when they don't, which is like they like to dress up and perform as women. Something.
Yeah, even just like wearing.
That's not what a trans woman is.
Yeah, and even just wearing nail polish or something pink, it doesn't make them trans or drag.
For you, drag is like a hobby.
Yeah.
Okay, again, my question to you is, what classifies you as trans?
And real quick, Bob, are we doing a forgiveness program on any of the offenders?
Well, which ones?
Either Sugar or People.
One of your clowns up here in Sugar.
Tinkle literally used the F slur against.
No, I know, and we rebuked it.
I highly recommend that we don't give Sugar another chance. I've seen her in other rooms.
Sugar.
She's the worst.
Well, Sugar is like, she has an air of superiority around her, and she likes to pretend that she's this like erudite, intellectual scholar who doesn't insult people. But she also has a severe verbal comprehension problem.
And she also plays the victim card at every turn. She also rambles on about nonsense. She also will never provide you any empirical evidence for the claims she makes.
I don't mind her being on the stage.
Yeah, I think she left. Just seeing here. Oh, Regal's still been waiting. See, Regal's been, honestly, Bob, seriously. Yeah, I don't know what you were going to say about my side. Regal.
Well, what I was going to say was, Regal I've noticed he stopped doing insulting, the slurring,
crazy, just meltdowns every other time.
Right. But unfortunately, that didn't improve the quality of the speech, notably.
Well, Well, let's take it.
I'm fine with him speaking.
No, I know. But let's take him in before we get him, because I think there's more that could be said. But I'm just saying.
Sure.
I want you guys to count the hits when I get them. And
yeah, sure. But Andrew, you caught the dishonesty that Sugar Belly was trying to do with the equivocation.
Bro. Either it's dishonesty or it's just massive ignorance. And right, just
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, sure.
Okay.
And it is, and you're pulling out her characteristics spot on, and I agree. For sure.
What about my pulling out of her characteristics? How did you find that?
I agree. That's also true. She hasn't really seen the cite any empirics or give anything back up what she says. She makes her claims. She did give that. She said she had that PDF or whatever earlier. I guess she did have something. But and then she drones on for days, and then she usually misses the point. So you're just like, oh my gosh, yeah. But that's okay.
Go ahead, Regal.
She's a woman, but don't hold it against her. Okay. Regal, go ahead, my brother.
Come on, Andrew.
I know that was messed up. Don't say stuff like that.
Yeah, I kind of just want to rewind a little bit, kind of like describe or at least define or like find out what kind of a function a transgender person serves versus like a biological adult woman. And the question becomes to me is what responsibilities and duties do they have inherent to society? And I think that'll break the symmetry right there, because women tend to replenish people groups in society. Men get to vote, women get to vote. They stay home and make the bullets and take care of the babies while we're at war. Right, we get drafted. That's a duty inherent to men. Something all men have to do.
What are you making right now?
You want to know what's the point of society, but keep going, Reed.
Like nobody, I agree that trans women generally can't reproduce.
Right, exactly.
Not the way women can. Not the way women can, at least.
Right.
I can't make bullets. So how do I qualify as a woman according to Regal?
Hey, Jay, 85-year-old kid can make bullets.
He's been very patient and you know.
No.
It doesn't give a medal.
You know what? I'll just. I'm not even gonna finish that up. Just, you know what? If you guys want to just play around with it, just chop it up at that. Go for it. I'm you know, I'm like right there.
To be very charitable to you, I don't understand what point you're trying to make that is relevant to the conflict, because all you seem to be saying is all you seem to be saying is trans women can't serve the function, the biological function of a biological.
They have no inherent duties and responsibilities as a female, so they don't function as one.
Right,
So they
but
can't
nobody's.
even adopt a child that you give up?
So I would anybody even acknowledge this. If I'm being charitable, what you say, I don't think he's. First of all, he's not trolling. But secondly, if he waited a while to say this, I think it would be at least fair to try to. Whether you disagree.
He's not trolling by saying that women's inherent duty is build bullets.
He's saying what? No, he said what inherent duties, and then he said that women do this and men do this, and that historically there has been a lot of that. Now, whether you agree with those gender roles or not, whatever. But my point. But let me just say this real quick to what you're saying, Rico. There's going to be a question if people even have duties, right? Obviously, you know, there are people who take that view that you do have there's obligation, generally speaking, you know, depending on maybe what sex you're born into or whatever the case may be.
Let's take it this way. Is it a woman's inherent duty and responsibility to present as a woman? Is it required?
No.
There's a lot of people who disagree with that. Is it required of them to have this conversation and discussion about who's using the bathroom because they don't care really about this much? What? Like comfort, security.
I have no idea what this person's saying.
Having a function in society, giving to your community, family, like these are things that they care about. So it's like this whole thing based on like cosmetic surgery or like mental states and attitudes that influence the behavior, removing gender dysphoria from the DSM-5, compelling people to speak a certain way about you. I just don't think it's all going in a very good direction, and I think it's the only mental disorder that there was where treating the status of it, you encourage the delusion. But you don't do that for schizophrenia.
Now we're back to
You don't do that for bipolar. You don't.
No, you.
Sorry, what's the delusion?
I mean, believing that I can magically be a woman. That some cosmetic surgery will magically do that for me.
Yeah, and what do you mean by woman?
What do I mean by woman?
Yeah.
An adult human female. I can get
but they don't think.
Yeah, but they don't think that they're functioning in a family unit.
But they don't think
that they're adult human females. So
women
tend to usually
put their family ahead of themselves. That's why they engage with their family heavily into support.
We're talking about the delusion, though.
They don't think that they're adult females. So what's the delusion again?
Why do you keep saying they don't think they're adult females when they want adult female things? What is up with you, bro?
They want to be included, like they want to be participating in the spaces that biological women have. But it doesn't mean that they think. That doesn't mean that they think they're biological women.
Sorry,
what's
I
the
don't mean
delusion?
I don't mean this. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you really didn't answer
No,
the
it's fine.
question first, and it's like I just want you to answer the question.
Well, there's no point in talking to this
Human
guy, Bob, if he's not
transsexual
listening.
woman, for an example. What is her duties and responsibilities inherent?
Yeah, but right now I'm interested in knowing what the delusion is. It seems like you're confused about.
Well, this is the topic that we're having a discussion on. I'd just like to hear your answer. Start from there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Brand, you accuse them of like, oh, the reason we don't do this is because that's in a delusion.
No, that's not what
But you see, that is what you said. But it seems like you're confused about what the delusion is.
He was not
so
confused. He named
so evolutionary biology will tell you.
So what's the delusion people made? What traits they look for?
Simply, why did you mention delusion?
Right?
So what's the delusion?
The delusion is that I can magically be something I'm not.
Schizophrenia, bro.
Right, but they don't think they're adult human females. So what is the delusion again?
That's
The
form of
delusion
bipolar
is that they
disorder,
have
bro.
a mental disorder.
Right, where you claim that they think they're adult human females, but they don't think they're adult human.
No, that's what you said. I didn't. That's what you said. I didn't say it.
That is what you said. Because you said they think they're women, and I asked you, what do you mean by women? And you said adult human female. So I just replaced the word woman in your. I just said
I'm gonna end it right here.
So Andrew, he actually hasn't improved at all. So
Yeah, he should just end it.
this is the exact same, like obviously dad first shake.
How are you sitting here
when he was called J Flair?
and then deeply
I'm not obviously in
on something else? Yeah, you are.
I'm saying part of your question.
What responsibility and duties do trans women have inherently that other women have?
I don't believe in any inherent responsibility. So the question is malformed. So the question is malformed to begin with, but during your speech, you claim that they're delusional. You claim that they're delusional, and what you meant by that is that they think they're women, and what you meant by woman was adult human female. I told you they don't think they're adult human females, so they can't be. So they can't be delusional about. They can't be delusional about something. They can't be delusional. They can't be delusional about something that they don't
That's
affirm.
not what I said.
That is what
You
you
know
said.
what? You know what? No, that's not what I said. Nope.
We agree that you can't be delusional about something you don't affirm, right?
That's not what
Agree on that?
Then can you see me? Can you see me in my?
Do we agree?
Okay, you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Do we agree that you can't be delusional about something you don't affirm? Do we agree on that?
That's not even the conversation that we're having.
The fact that they put
Then
woman
why did you mention delusion?
Bob, is this guy also a troll, or is he?
Yeah. See, he is. He is in.
Women have, right?
I
have in common with transsexuals.
I don't know. It's like this is so painfully bad faith that I'm like having trouble taking it seriously.
You think, so I'll just say this, I should play some of the old clips to find him, but he used to just like melt down and yell at people and call them slurs and all these different things.
Yeah, he doesn't do that anymore, but like none of the bad faith has gone.
Well, so I mean, look, I think there's just some, I don't think.
Yeah, he called them delusional, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I think he's wrong.
And then I asked him what the delusion was, and he said that they were like they think they're women when they're not. And I asked him what a woman was.
He had done 5 if it was not for
and I asked him what a woman was, and he said adult human female. And then I told him that so we agree on all that.
So what happened on that step, Regal, when he said that they don't think they're females? What did you say to that, bro?
Who doesn't think that they're not females?
No, they don't.
No, we're not doing this.
No. Be specific here. Let's get into specifically what the question was that he asked me was.
No, we're not.
Because he doesn't remember what he was saying to me.
Yes, he does.
So sad. We all have a problem repeating it.
I mean, I recounted it like 3 times already, but
that's not what I said.
The trans women.
You said that they're delusional, and he asked you what you meant by delusional, and you said think they're women. And then he asked you for your definition of woman, and you said adult human female, and so he used that definition to say they don't think that they are adult human females, so they are not delusional then.
Okay.
Hey,
Andrew, stop right here. Stop. I just listened to that, right?
If you don't
I said, and
why would they answer
that was his response to this specifically. They all share a mental instability in common.
They all have delusions of grandeur, let's just say, whether it be depression, whether it be bipolar, whether it be
This is too much.
schizophrenia.
Sorry.
That's not true.
No. This is like disgusting, that faith, and you're not even trying to.
Alright, you just removed him?
Sorry, Andrew. It's like
That's really weird that Bob would do that.
It's really weird that I removed the obvious troll.
Yeah, I think that is weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
There's a lot of people here that aren't going to like my passivity, and there's a lot of people that aren't going to like Bob's, his rigor. But
the only people who are right about it are the idiots.
Well, I think you're an idiot.
I dislike it. That's cool, dude.
So listen. So
we agree, Andrew. We agree that he was being disgustingly dishonest.
Okay.
I actually that last little part there, so I apologize.
He said, well, he pretended like he's like, yeah, so they all have the same delusion in common. They all have, let's say, delusions of grandeur. Like he was trying to pretend like that was complete. Like, it was an obvious trolling. It was completely obvious.
Let's do our Bob. Put on your mask. Hold on, real quick, guys. Hold on, real quick.
The only thing Norm can do is say the F slur. Norm is considered vermin even amongst his Zionist friends.
I remove that guy. Anybody who advocates for Norm's also get
Wow, what a weird vibe cultivated in here, Andrew. What a very un-Andrew vibe.
I know, I got you, bro. Hold on, real quick.
It's you.
Who is this? Bob, hold on, real quick. Bob, try to do your best. Hold on, Alex, just a second, brother. Try to do your best to put on your charitable hat as best as you can. Not saying you haven't. With my trash bag, my friend trash bag, and possibly Alex. I have a feeling.
My friend trash bag. Okay.
Yes, I have a feeling if we lose these two, the voices are gonna be very lopsided.
That's fine. The only reason I remove anyone is one, the people I've removed just said the F slur. So they were removed. And the only other person I've removed is Regal, and he was just obviously trolling.
Yeah, and Elnor.
I don't know. Unfortunately, he dropped the F slur. That's why he was removed.
Normal dropped the F slur? I didn't.
Yeah, that's why I removed
him. I have never heard him use that. Interesting. Okay.
I've heard him use it multiple times. But
no, that wasn't like casting shade on you, saying like that.
That's right.
I've never heard him say that. So. But okay, cool, fair enough. But no, my trash bag. I'm not vouching. I'm not saying like you good argumentation or whatever. But I do. I try to find the nugget.
That's not a very strong endorsement.
No, I'm not trying to give an endorsement because my endorsements aren't really taken, with too much respect anyway.
Right? You're saying I'm not high IQ, so you're saying I'm a low IQ?
No, I didn't actually make an assessment. But I will say this, my friend. Allow myself to introduce myself. What's your issue, or do you have an issue with affirming people's preferred pronouns? If you do have an issue, what is the issue?
Well, I was instinctively transphobic back in 2014. That was a long time ago. But then I read this article in the Nature magazine that said that the brains of transgender people align with their gender identity rather than the gender that they were assigned at birth. And so I read this study that said that trans women, their brains are more like biological assigned female at birth, and their brains are not like a man's brain. They might have the body of a man, they might have been assigned male at birth, but their brain scans align with the female brains. And so ever since I read that article on Nature magazine, I was no longer transphobic. And I thought, transgender is real, and I need to respect people's pronouns. And of course, I would always respect people's pronouns. Excuse me. Up until the time that I was, I don't want to say the R word because I don't know if that's like a terms of service violation, but I was taken advantage of, sexually molested by a transgender person. And that was a very disturbing experience for me, and it significantly affected the way that I view transgender people in general.
And I certainly would not want to say anything offensive, and I don't want to say anything that could be deemed as trolling. But I do think that gender dysphoria is a form of mental delusion. And so in that way, I think that all transgender people share the same delusion. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that all transgender people have delusions of grandeur or depression or whatever the other guy was saying. I wouldn't go that.
Excuse me. Can I say something?
That's true. Go ahead.
Okay. Do y'all believe in transracials? Do y'all believe in transracial?
No, I don't think we typically. I think most people broadly don't accept that.
Okay, now, when you look at it right, it's basically the same thing. Somebody having an identity crisis. Same thing. Because I've seen white guys, they act just like they black. Literally, they
what does that mean?
That's like them, and they think like them, and they just.
He's saying that being transgender is an identity crisis similar to being.
No, I heard that part. I'm just not even sure what transracial is.
Like when you a certain race, you want to be another race.
Let me explain it, right?
That's not transgenders.
What's a race? About several years ago, there was a white woman. She was in the NAACP. Y'all might know her.
Yeah, we all know who she is.
Yeah, right. And everybody got down with her. I'm talking about the white people, the black people. I mean, everybody got down with her about that, right? Me,
a lot of people.
Yeah, me, I did. I'm like, man, what was y'all talking about, man? I'm like, I mean, shit, man, she trying to help us, man. She identifying with us. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but at the same time, right? I look at this. On one hand, you have transracials. I just seen them in real life. I seen black guys act like they white. I seen white guys act like they black. I mean, I just seen it in real life. And then, on the other hand, you have transgender. They saying this is okay.
Yeah, but does blackness or whiteness have to be a certain thing? Like,
yeah, Alex, it calls into question what does it mean to be black or to be white or to be anything.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, I'm talking on the transgender. Now, I can get real deep.
I understand.
You know, I don't want nobody to I don't want nobody to kick me off because they don't whatever I'm saying. I'm not going to disrespect none of y'all on here. Big truth. I say this because, one, this whole planet is my people. The Aboriginal people, the first people that ever was on this planet. When Yahweh thought of people, he thought of my people. No other nationality existed. All nationalities come from us. That's a fact. Look it up. It's all coming out, everything.
Well, it's debated.
It is all coming out.
Well, I think it was addressing people darkening their skin or lightening their skin and changing up their culture or their way of being because they want to know another culture.
No, I ain't saying that, right? I'm saying as far as the mind, because all this in the mind. That's where it's at. That's why transgender the way that he is. Well, you know, I mean, they got so many names, different ones. So any of them, you know what I'm saying? It starts in the brain. And just like a transracial, it starts in the brain. It was in that white woman brain like that, man. She actually said it, like, I identify with black people. You know what I'm saying? She looked black to me. She looked like a light-skinned sister. That's what I thought. You know what I'm saying? Until her parents had come out and told her.
Yeah, I look like an even light-skinned one.
But the whole thing is we have to protect the kids, man. That's what I'm on. You know what I'm saying? I can't control what somebody else do in their bedroom. You know, I can control that. You know, I can care less what the person do in their bedroom, you know. But out here in society, when I'm sitting here, got my 7-year-old son, and I see a whole dude with the whole female kit. I mean, purse, everything, shirt, everything. You messing the kids here. Nobody is feminine now because I will tell you, I used to be on the app. I used to be on the social media app, and
Disgustingly hateful.
No, I'm serious though. This homosexual told me, he was like, "Man, we ain't worried about you." I said, "What you mean?"
Are you like addressing anybody, or did anybody ask you a question, or like anything, or you just rambling?
I'm enjoying listening to him personally.
I'm saying something, but I'm just telling you what this homosexual told me. He said he wasn't worried about me or nobody like me. I said,
why are you saying that?
He said that because you're going to get old and die. We worried about the youth.
We need to understand.
Alex, can I?
All right, Alex.
Hold on.
Thank you for your contribution.
Please,
I thought that was it.
Please, let me think. All right. They know the youth. Their mind is like a sponge. When the child come out the womb, they know nothing. They are empty. The little boy don't know who he is.
You say finish. You need to ramble for 5 more minutes. Is that what you meant when you said finish?
And so they put being an asshole in the man speak. Damn, that's some perspective. Put being an asshole.
Why do we need to let this man speak?
Okay, let's
Why?
let's just give them 30 more seconds, okay? 30 more
Why are you being so racist?
Can you people potentially, like you're some sure about you people?
Sully is a racist.
Alex, you got 30 seconds. Let him wind up his 30 seconds, or we're gonna give him another 30 seconds. So go ahead, Alex. You got 30 seconds.
You guys are this is like
a child demoted, a gangster molded his son to be a straight gangster, just like him. You dig what I'm saying? So that's why when you got all these kids running around here feminine, you dig. And I don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to raise my son to be a man. I don't grandbabies. I won't meet my granddaughter. I don't man. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? And that's against God and everything, man. So people, man, all this fleshly, what they want to do, I mean, that's your own fleshly, what you want to do, man. But it's consequences, man, in the end, man. Real talk. Everybody got an answer for something. And that one there, Yahweh don't like that, man. He destroyed Solomon to war for that.
Thank you.
Can I just
good contribution?
Maybe sum up, Alex?
Excellent.
If I understand you correctly, are you promoting that people should be who they want to be without hurting people?
Well, I mean, really, I can't control people. So
that's a yes or no.
I mean,
should people be who they want to be without hurting people? That's what happens when you listen.
I mean, I would say, yeah, it's their choice. It's their choice.
That's right.
They're free will. You know what I'm saying?
I like that attitude.
I think he kind of answered that.
Sorry, what did you want me to engage with, Andrew?
I just wanted to sum up.
Yeah. I'm just not there. I think I can respond to the point that he was trying to make. And that point, there's an issue with it because what you're trying to say is, they can be transgender if they want, but I'm worried about my kids seeing them transgender because they might copy it. That argument does too much because you can use that same argument to say there shouldn't be Muslims in the country. There shouldn't be anybody in the country that's doing something that you don't want your child to be because they might see it. So it just does too much. Like you can't just ban everything that you don't want your child to be. Just ban everything, stop everybody else.
Chris, I don't want my daughter going into a public bathroom and she thinking she's seeing other women private.
You're a 12-year-old. You don't have a daughter. He's not 12. Dude, this kid is literally 12, Andrew. Like, no, he's not 12. I'm sorry, Andrew. Have you checked his ID?
Did you
check
your ID?
I can hear the voice of this person. I sold it on our phone. Oh my god, you have no idea how old they are. They're clearly talking about.
Okay. HLC, how old are you? Or where's he at?
I'm 30.
He's a mod. We can't make him a mod. Let's not do that.
I'm 31, he says.
Yeah, I think that checks out.
But before we go into that, wait, please. The argument was changed because the argument Alex was making wasn't somebody in detention rooms, whatever. You can have other rules so that we don't expose anybody to anybody. He was just saying, just out and about, I don't want transgender people because my kid might see that. And
there can be gradations though, right, Chris? So obviously somebody can say, look, I don't want trans people to be near my kids because I don't want them to, I'm saying somebody could have this position, or they could be like, well, certain things are fine, right? They can have they could have a turban on or something like that, and a hijab or whatever. Then maybe that's not an issue. I don't have an issue if my kids see that, but I do have an issue with certain things, right? So somebody could just have a gradation on what they think is inappropriate. Right?
Yeah, someone can have a gradation on appropriate, right? You can do something about, okay, maybe let's just make it such that anybody, whether they're a man or a woman, can't be like naked in front of your child. You can do that. But based on, I don't want my kid to see it, it's too weak. If it was like it's harmful in another way.
Wait, so sexual assault ain't weak? Like what?
No, but you can't show that once you're transgender, you're more likely to sexually assault people. Like that's not the. Yes, there are transgender assault.
How can your children find out about private parts? They ask you, the parent. They ask you, the parent, about private parts. You, the parent, supposed to take them to the public bathroom. They trust in you and the private parts you got, and everybody else they got the same private parts.
Right. Oh, no. I grant you that. You can make rules to make children safer in detention rooms. You can do that. That was different from what Alex was saying. Alex wasn't talking about dangers or they might get attacked. He was just saying, I don't want my child to see that so they don't copy that. And to remember that. That's the argument I was addressing. He doesn't want his child to see transgender so his child wouldn't copy that. It wasn't about safety.
But your answer was very...
Because based on that, you can say there shouldn't be Muslims because your child might see that, might copy that. That's the argument I was addressing. It wasn't about safety. The other guy, HLC guy,
you should that ain't it, man. Hey, that ain't it, man. Man, it's female and male on this planet, man. A woman supposed to conduct like a woman, and a man supposed to conduct himself like a man, man.
You see some underlying argument, right? Like he thinks, okay, they're too feminine. Like the real issue you have now comes out.
Yeah. I think the real issue we all have is that we don't want them in our private quarters because we have youth.
You was not 32.
Yeah.
So there's levels of assimilation.
We didn't have any adults exposing them to white crime in front of whether they're men or women.
Yeah. They bullies too. Yeah, I seen them. They bullied a white woman one time. She was a beauty pageant. And Perez, he asked her, what do you think Mary's supposed to be between? And she told the truth. She was like, I don't mean to offend anybody, but the way I was raised, key word, I was raised, Mary's supposed to be between a man and a woman. Why she say that?
Right. Yeah, but I think if we start normalizing, trans people, I am worried they're just going to come while we're sleeping and put their genitals on our faces while we're sleeping.
Andrew, there's levels of assimilation. What we need to get back to is passing standards. The real issue is we don't like ugly people, and there's too many ugly people that are transitioning. So if we can raise the passing standards, then everything will be okay. So why can't we just do that?
What's the question? Chris, you know which one it is. They run it in the chillism. It's something like if you have somebody who looks like
what's Mike's thing, a gorilla or a man?
Yeah, well, no, that's a separate thing. But somebody who looks like Kim Kardashian physically or whatever. Not to say that I'm not advocating to be the prime, but anyway, somebody who looks like Kim Kardashian, but they have the chromosomes of that of a male, and then or somebody who looks like a male, as far as typically, right? What we would associate, but have female chromosomes. I think somebody was saying if you had, what was the question? You had to date one of them, or if you had to. What's that?
I'm just saying I can see where this is going. They're gonna ask which one would you prefer to.
Yeah. Something like that.
People that lost their life for stuff like that, man. I mean, people that literally lost their life, man. Like for stuff like that.
That
happened to me.
It really just comes down to because you can pass. But when you have 6'3" with stuff in the men's room,
So the point is, is like if somebody. Well, hold on, Alex, real quick. If somebody had, so the question is which one of the two, if you had to be intimate and date one or whatever, which one would it be? And it's an interesting question, right? Because I think it kind of brings out what you're.
Interesting.
Hold on, Alex. You have one or two choices: Kim Kardashian body, but male chromosomes, or Arnold Schwarzenegger body, but female chromosomes.
I would take Arnold. It'd be neither. Hey, listen, man. I'm a God-fearing man. I know what it really is.
So which one is it? So which one do you?
Neither.
No, you have to pick one.
No, I ain't got to do shit.
I already told you.
I'm a whole.
It's called a hypothetical, and
No, man.
Yeah. Look,
Alex is appealing to the fact that he has the right to do what he wants.
But Andrew, I already had that experience. I ran that experiment in real life.
Right, Alex?
And I did hook up with a hot
girl who had a fake vagina. Yes, Alex, isn't that true though? You can do what you want to do, right, Alex?
Hold up.
So can other people, right?
You can't manipulate somebody into thinking that you have a vagina if you actually have a gaping maw.
Brother JJ hasn't said much. He's asking you a question, Alex, and then you can make your submission. Can you answer Brother JJ's question? And we'll get Matt and everybody else that can on stage to get them in. Go ahead, Brother JJ.
Do I have to repeat myself, Alex?
Yeah, I think you do. There are a lot of people talking. Go ahead. Just ask Alex.
Alex?
Again?
Hold on.
Yeah, Alex, you said that you don't have to pick. You can do what you want to do. And so can other people, right?
I mean, you can, but it depends on what you do.
Whether or not you want them to.
If you're doing something to your whole...
You can't take a shit on the street.
They gonna say, but I got a choice whether or not I want to...
And people can't identify how they want? Because you don't like it?
Not if they're going to manipulate other people and try to have sex with them.
It's because
we're trying to keep it fairly loose, but just let Alex answer JJ, so they can identify how they want, right?
And that's what I like. You know what I'm saying? It's what Yahweh like. You know what I'm saying? And not just that. Yeah, all of us, we have free will. We can do whatever we want to. I can walk out my house right now and kill somebody if I want to. If I want to, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? But the consequences here and when I go.
So you're saying that Yahweh wouldn't like you to kill somebody, and Yahweh wouldn't like people to identify how they want it.
I answered one of your questions, then I asked the other two questions you want me to answer. One thing I don't like about the LGBT is that, for one, they try to use my people's struggle, civil rights and all that type of stuff. When they can't do that is an insult. Why? Because we didn't choose to look the way we look. We had not one choice in that. We just wanted like that, okay, on this. They chose to be who they are. That's why I said mental illness as well as choice. You choose.
So if you choose a mental illness, even if it was a mental illness, still you saying they chose that?
Yeah, they choose, man. It's a mental illness. You can't be wired right like that. You're not supposed to even be wired to like the opposite sex. Or even want to change your sex.
Don't you think they can be born wired wrong?
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
I think God works everybody.
You want to know why? Because a child could be taught.
Hold on. The Bible does not.
That's why the daddy. Hold on. I'm about to explain this. That's why it's supposed to be a mama and a father in that home. Because when a little child come out, they show any feminine ways.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but you're
checking that shit, man.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, bro. But you're saying it's not even possible for them to be born fucked up. Like, it's wrong. I don't think it's right to be trans, but if they're born like that, they're born like that. Because the Bible says everyone has the original sin of Adam. So if we have his original sin, we're gonna come out fucked up.
Well, you gotta blame America. Because for one thing, all the stuff they do, the good stuff in our foods and stuff like that.
But I gotta say something real quick. This is really weird. So literally, David, there must be something going on, brother. I don't know if you want to call it in the spirit, or maybe just a premonition or something. But I was just thinking about you, bub, and I was like, we need to get David in here. That's pretty weird. That was today, so that's weird. Anyway, and not to say that I think about you every day. So because that'd be really weird. So I don't know. That's pretty strange that you just came in. But it's good to see you, David. And I heard you. If I use the term the young people use, you mogged Danny Philtalk. No, I don't know if that's the term. Anyway, you had a good debate with Danny and whatnot.
You know what mogged means?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
No. But do you think that the debate went well, David?
For the most part, yeah. There was some unfortunate miscommunication at first because it was set up as a theism versus atheism debate, and then we went live and James released the link as a Christianity versus atheism debate. So there was some talking past at first, but we got back on track, and after that, I think it went well.
Nice. Let me say this. It is good you're here, brother. And I don't think I've ever got your take on this issue. So we're actually we're talking about the pronouns, the pronouns, the p-nouns. Do you affirm people's preferred pronouns, or if you do, why not? And if you don't,
I'm an asshole.
Why not?
If I think you're male, I call you he, him. If I think you're female, I call you she, her.
Why?
What if they correct you?
Yeah, so this will actually be...
One second. What if they correct you, David?
Okay.
You don't give a fuck. Nice.
Dave, I just sent you a friend request.
Very good to hear from you, you little bitch.
Dave, I added you. Dave, you immaculate genius. I just added you as a friend.
Just say it's my friend. Well, my friend.
That's crazy.
So if you're in the drive-thru and the guy's like,
hold on.
hey, I'm actually, I'm a dude, and he's like, fuck off.
Hold on now.
Girl.
So you can make your point for sure. But David, here's the thing. There's been a lot of people that come up here that have been opposed to the affirming of pronouns, right? And they have been less than stellar. Okay. Now,
I didn't really get a chance to make.
No, I know, no. Hold on, brother. Just hang tight. We're doing a little red carpet thing. Now you all are garbage. No, I'm joking. I do love Brother Dave though, and I do want to give him a chance to speak. We'll come right back to you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. But David, what would be the case that you would make that we shouldn't be affirming people's pronouns? Right, Dave.
Yeah, I guess so I don't claim to be an expert on this, but my thinking, here's where I'm at with it. So I use pronouns like he and him to refer to
males and terms like she, her to refer to females. That's just what I mean by the terms. Now, as I understand pro-trans position, they want to make a distinction between your sex and then this other thing called the gender identity. And so they want to use pronouns to refer to that gender identity as opposed to your biological sex. That's just not how I use the terms. And I'm honestly not sure what gender identity is even supposed to be. I've never actually gotten a clear explanation of what it's supposed to be from someone. So, yeah, I don't really have an argument that you should or shouldn't be using the words this way or that way. I mean, you can use them however the heck you want. I just, when I use them, I'm referring to your sex. And if you're telling me these words should be used to refer to something else, please elucidate to me what that something else is supposed to be.
Okay, so when you say, when somebody says, hey, look, out of just, I know you said you're an a-hole, right? But, hey, just be friendly and courteous. And, I want to be called she or her or woman, and I'm a male. And the reason is because I think I'm feminine, or I have a collection of traits that historically have been associated with females. I'm not saying I'm a female. I'm saying that I'm a woman, right? And woman just means I have this, this collection of traits. And you could see them yourself. They might be wearing a dress. They might have, makeup on. I don't know, whatever, right? All these different things. Okay. Why would you be opposed to that?
Yeah, well, because I think it's reinforcing, sociological things that I don't particularly want. So, I like having a clear distinction between men and women, females, and feeds into a narrative that I don't like. I don't really see the utility to it, and in some dudes, I think it could be doing more harm. So yeah, it's kind of more on top of it.
And I think that's actually the fairest response. I don't do that. I think that's a legitimate position. So I'd be curious, those that are opposed to it, JJ or whoever.
I just think this thinking is ridiculous. And I actually don't even believe him, to be honest.
You believe people when they say, hey, call me this, but you don't believe him when he says this about himself, about what he believes.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. He said that he uses pronouns that he thinks are appropriate for what he's looking at. And he said that if somebody corrects them, he won't give a fuck. So if somebody who let's just say Kim Kardashian walked up to you and you referred to this person as her, and you're corrected, and that person says, I'm he, him, you wouldn't give a fuck. You wouldn't change. Now, it might be that that's not actually Kim Kardashian. It's just somebody that looks exactly like Kim Kardashian. I really hate using the example of Kim Kardashian, but since everybody's familiar, that person might actually just be a man, a male, and you just wouldn't give a fuck, regardless of even if you
don't even need to look at the trans thing, JJ. Just if you're in a drive-through and the guy just mistakenly, and they're just like, "Fuck off! I don't care."
Yeah,
I don't care if you're a man.
What kind of piece of shit are you, David?
To choice based on the evidence of my senses.
It's much more offensive to call somebody a piece of shit like you just did. I'm very offended by that. Anytime somebody calls somebody else a piece of shit, I'm very disgusted.
He just made a real argument. He said it's because he trusts his senses. So if the most foundational thing is that Mr. Maggi is telling these people, why would he deny that just because you're not making it?
I would appreciate it if you don't refer to people as piece of shit.
I don't know where this
was coming from. By that token, we should just
the
appropriate pronoun should be like whatever he perceives as the person as being.
It's really amenable to correction, just like the examples that were given to you, where Because unless you're saying you're going to be checking their genitals or their chromosomes, you could be actually like mistaken. So he said, well, I'm just going to call you whatever I thought you looked like, and if you corrected me, I'm going to put my foot down and continue calling you that. That's crazy. I didn't want to get into like insult or something, but I think it's appropriate to call that out. That's really cool.
It seems to me like there's two different things. There's the question of what if somebody who is like actually male but looks like a female is quote unquote correcting you by telling you that they are actually male. If that's actually like proven to me, then I'm happy to like choose accordingly, because again, I think this refers to facts about the person. That's not what I take to be going on in the trans debate, though. In the trans debate, I take it that we're talking about someone who actually is male or female, but wants to be referred to by pronouns that are typically applied to people of the opposite sex. That's what I'm not going to, acquiesce to their request.
Okay. Yeah, if I want to be charitable, I'll say, okay, I'll grant you that, you're talking about when we know that it's trans that is in play. It's not a drag queen. It's not like it just looks like, but it's a different, But now the next argument that I will move to is that why not just do it for like politeness sake? I know you addressed it, how you don't want to enforce, but I would say in other domains we do that all the time. Someone will say, "Oh, I'm a priest of this. I'm a bishop." And I don't think that God exists. I think it's just all played, right? And I'm not going to just say, well, I'm not going to call you bishop. I'm not going to call you your title, because I think it's all made up and it's not real. What's in it to just be polite if you know that it could actually cause a lot of hurt and distress to actually just say, no, I'm going to continue calling you he, him. Some people have, it causes a lot of distress, and if you just do that, right? So it should actually be about weighing the scales of what to do, how serious the issue is, as to whether you should just keep your foot down and keep calling them what you thought they looked like, rather than what they would prefer.
Hey, Chris.
I'm not quite sure what the argument there actually is. Could you try? Can you formalize that into an argument?
Okay, yeah, let me just.
It could cause more harm.
Wait, I can do it myself. Please wait. Titles. Advertise anything to titles. Like bishop, that you could just want to be polite when you know what their title is, and even if you didn't think their priest or somewhere and you thought the God was fake, you wouldn't say, "Oh no, I'm not going to call you a bishop because I think your God isn't real." So even if in your mind you thought they really weren't actually female and they weren't a woman, right? Why would you just insist when you know that's a societal thing already? I know that it's a societal thing already that we just call people bishops. They think their God is real. I don't need to go out there and say, no, I'm not going to call you bishop. I don't think your God is real. That's the equivalent of what I think you're doing. And it's unnecessary.
Do you think that the term bishop refers to something that essentially makes reference to God, or that the term priest does? Because I kind of understand these to be certain roles that a person plays, certainly within a religious setting, but I don't think that the use of the term bishop or priest is an ontologically committing statement to. I don't think it ontologically commits me to the existence of God to refer to someone as a bishop. I'm more than happy to refer to Buddhist monks as monks. I don't think that is committing me to anything about the truth of their religion. Whereas if I use the term he or him, I'm generally primarily using that term to refer to somebody who's got a penis. I'm not.
The thing is, it doesn't need to be that way, and I don't view it that way. I view them as analogous. In order to call someone like a woman, you don't need to actually say that ontologically, I believe he has XX chromosomes and he actually has this genitalia. Ontologically, that's what really has to be going on, right? I say analogous that he has to be a real monk of the real.
Well, I'd like to jump in briefly and just offer some clarification. Very simply, one is a bishop based on the fact that they perform the duties of a bishop, And then by that same logic, one is a woman based on the fact that they perform the function of a woman. And then we have to ask, what is a woman?
Alright, can I ask my shit first?
You have to ask, what is the function of a woman?
I ain't trying to be rude to cut nobody out, but I feel like I can get some good answers.
You think the function of a woman is the question you ask before knowing what a woman is? JJ?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. That's what I say, bro.
That's sticking to the analogy.
So look, Alex brought up a point a few seconds ago. He was talking a bunch of stuff, but he brought up the thing about the kids, and I'm interested to know how y'all feel about like trans people, whether they be trans men or trans women, being in positions of leadership when it comes to children. And the reason I ask that is because I'm a teacher and I have a coworker that's a trans woman. He presents as a man, but it's a trans woman, and I can see the kind of confusion with the kids sometimes. But he's not like disrespectful with them or anything. But I was just interested to know y'all what y'all would think about that. Because it's kind of
Let's say just
It comes down to how fast we can
I can address that. I can live and let live. It might be confusing at first. They'll get used to it. In some places, the same thing. They've never seen a black person before. They thought that the black person rubbed themselves with charcoals. They were confused. You explain to them, then they would know. That wouldn't make sense. But that wouldn't come in. Eventually, they'll get the hang of it. That, that's what it is. And they'll still live a good life. So, say if you're not making the argument of like safety, maybe closing and changing rooms or whatever, if it's just, I'd rather they don't see a trans person so they don't become trans or so they don't get messed up, like, get over it. It's not a good argument.
Yeah, so it's, go ahead, somebody.
Now I want to ask Chris, because Chris got a lot of examples. Chris, so if I get cleared by a medical doctor that I'm psychiatrically good to go, but these people you're defending at the moment or individuals have to go to a psychiatric doctor to even clarify that they can do or are comfortable doing what they want to do. Am I supposed to take on their mental disorder because they want me to?
Someone else can address that. I've been talking a lot.
No, she talking to you though, or that person is talking to you. Sorry, I don't know.
Her question actually didn't really make a whole lot of sense, to be honest.
I'm a male, and my question was direct. Okay, my question.
Oh, nobody gives a fuck if you're a male.
Let me try to address that. You're saying like because they were in a situation where they had to go to psychiatry and stuff like that, you don't expect them to be in charge of children. There are many things like you could have autism, you could have Asperger's. There are many things to see a psychiatrist for that doesn't then disqualify you from being in public or teaching people. And I feel trans is one of them. It's not like
she wasn't asking that. He wasn't asking that. You mixing up like my question and his question.
My question was about mental disorder.
Bro, you guys have Dave Pullman here and listen to the fuck you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Debate something.
That's very polite of you, Matt, for using his preferred pronouns, by the way.
Yeah, I got a transgender. I always do that, but I got a transgender coworker, so I've been working on trying to just be respectful in the workplace, even if I disagree with it or whatever. Like, I just try to treat him with respect, even though it's a girl. So when I'm talking to whoever about her, I say her, but he likes to go by coach at the school, so he just go by coach. I don't call him like, what's up, bro, and like it's whatever. But I don't like that she or he has the flexibility to like kind of like, I don't know, like I feel like he be trying to test me out, like, I don't know, like try me shit, but like test me out, like, you know how guys make like asshole guy jokes? I think like she be trying to do that with me, and I don't really think that's cool.
That individual not well behaved trans person. But you said I missed the HLC question. What was his question then?
I think
my question was about the mental capacity, bro. If I'm cleared by a doctor that I am mentally sane and fit to do the things that I do, and I have to stand next to another individual who isn't cleared by a doctor to be mentally sane to do everything they do because they have to see a doctor to even get any approval of what they're trying to do, why do I have to accept now the diagnosis that the doctor is forced to accept? Why do I have to become...
I still don't understand it.
Okay, let's make it simple. My mama beat me behind when I was a child to be able to identify boys and girls. Now that I'm older, why are you trying to tell me something different other than the truth?
So you're dropping the mental disorder thing, psychiatry thing, you're dropping that?
Yes.
So that was what I was trying to say, just being through some psychiatry thing doesn't really just disqualify you from being in public. It depends on the details. That's why I was giving an example of like Asperger's, autism, and stuff like that. You wouldn't say, "Oh, he's gone to a psychiatry. Why is he in the class?" You wouldn't say that. So why are you saying that about trans? It's not like trans is like some kind of violent disorder that we might attack the kids. If it's not that, then what's the issue?
So gender identity was classified, right? Whether we want to reclassify it now or not. And if I'm in a room with another individual and I was raised from the grade school age of 1st grade to 5th grade and taught that boys are boys, girls are girls, and this is what a boy has, this is what a girl has. How can you now? I don't want to say.
I got your point. I got your point.
Black people were two-fifths of the human. Man, times have changed.
Yeah, I think so. Like everything says, you're talking about black history or the black history.
I got your point.
Don't mistalk me, because I am a black man.
Wait. Just I was missing incredibly. Wait. Before I start, I was missing some parts of the point now. The part of the point I was missing is, okay, the gender you were given was like after the diagnosis. So why should I respect that? Because I've been taught differently before by, in the society. And now you got a diagnosis from psychiatry, and why should I call you what they said you...
No, why should I take on your psychosis? Not why I should call you that. Why should I take on your psychosis? Why do I have to identify you as this now when it's not true?
Why are we calling this psychosis?
Because
this is just too much ignorance to even address.
That's why it's called the psychosis.
Okay, Albino, debate Dave now, because you had a lot to say.
Well, I mean, part of what he's saying is that you use words whatever you want. And then, I guess I agree with that. Dave, do you agree then? So right now, I guess, it's probably fair to say that the usage just at least more often times refers to the sexual part, and you'd rather stick with that, and that's sort of fair enough, at least a little bit. But if it starts to move towards at least, a more common usage, especially if it pops up in the dictionary, you then won't be able to stand that kind of ground. Agree with that, right?
Yeah, definitions can change over time. You can certainly have seen that with the word gay, for example. So presumably we could come to such a point where terms like men and women refer to something other than the sort of biological senses of individuals. My concern there is that, my concern for now is that people are acting like I'm doing something wrong, and that I'm under some sort of obligation to change the way in which I use the word. It's kind of present that aspect of it, no, you must use it this way, despite even by your own admission, the way I'm using it, more or less the way that the word has been used and to this day is still used more often than not.
Yeah, I more or less think that's probably the best thing that anybody who is on your side could say. Is really, as long as you're willing to say look, that maybe there will be a time where that does happen, and I'm willing to adjust. These kind of things, I think basically have to be done. If they're policed by any way, it's going to be policed socially. I would be very against legally policing this kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's fair enough to an extent. I do think that what you're looking to have, which is the common usage, is not that far away, man. So that time's coming.
Yeah, isn't that battle already lost?
Maybe. I think it probably is, but
He's saying that he's just going to use the pronouns that correspond to what he perceives, right?
I think that it's also the other side of that is that I'm not convinced that there is an intelligible sense of the gender identity. So like, if we're going to use these words, but they're going to change in meaning, then like I would also like to understand what is that meaning supposed to be, and I have not gotten any.
What is your best steel man of their meaning?
So I think that they want to say, like, the best I've gotten from them is that there's like this set of attributes or functions or something like that that are traditionally associated with females, but are obviously distinct from the trait of being female. And it's sort of, if you identify with more of those traits than not, then like that is what makes you a woman. But it all just breaks down and you try to ask them to specify what the heck these traits are supposed to be. I never get an answer there.
Yeah, but like, can't you just like, it's going to be very difficult to set up a set of necessary conditions. But that doesn't mean it's like incoherent or it lacks any utility.
Because Dave, if we go like this, brother.
What do you mean by unintelligible?
Sorry.
Is no.
I just took that to mean kind of incoherent.
Well, no, incoherent means there's some sort of like contradiction. And unintelligible means that there's no substance. There's this vacuous empty category that you.
That's Andrew. Andrew was trying to interject.
Yeah, I got something that you like, Dave. Sorry, I don't mean hi, Dave. But just let me just say this, Dave. So, like, just quickly, we can just do rapid fire. What is a woman?
It's gonna be an adult.
Okay, and then what is a female?
That's gonna get a little bit trickier. I mean,
right? Exactly. And I think this is your point, right? So I think this is why it shouldn't be as problematic to say, hey, look, they can't give you a list of necessary and sufficient conditions or whatever. That you that's something to be fear, because obviously or to find problem with to take issue with, because basically we have all kinds of these cluster concepts or family resemblance whatever, we have a whole bunch of those kind of ideas where it's very hard to pick out you're not going to be able to get the precise line.
Hey, question, Andrew.
Hold on, HLC, hold on, brother. You're not going to be able to get the precise line drawn, right? But you can just say, well, they're just at some point it qualifies, right? And I think that's going to be, I think you'll find that to be analogous on your definition of female and what they might be defining women as.
Yeah, I think the difference here that I think there are going to be certain, I think there is going to be a way to draw that line. It's go, tricky how you draw it to get around.
Can I ask a question now, Andrew?
No, HLC.
The point that Andrew, I think, wants to make is there's just going to be some difficulty when you say, okay, what is a female? There's going to be difficulty in capturing everyone you want to capture with that label without omitting people that you don't want to omit. And I think that's the kind of problem that you also run into with trans women. I agree that you run into it more, as in it's a bigger problem for the trans woman label than it is for the biological woman label. But it seems weird to just say, well, because of some arbitrary line I've drawn where this amount of linguistic or content complexity, that makes it non-vacuous. But as soon as you pass this kind of threshold, then it becomes vacuous. I think that's a bad point to make.
My question now, bro.
I was trying to type to you in chat, HLC, and say if you could just hang tight, brother. But if you make it super quick and we'll answer it super fast, go ahead, buddy.
It's real quick. You asked what's a male, what's a female. A male is a little boy, a female is a little girl. We use men and women to define adulthood. We don't use the word female and male to define adulthood.
And he's just going to see what a girl is.
Okay. Yeah, it's still going to be, right. It's just
going to be
Okay, but as Christians, women inherit a nature from Eve that only women inherited. So we have a way to distinguish men and women as you guys that don't.
No, what is that? What is a woman, Kenan?
Someone who inherits their nature from Eve.
That was going to go ahead.
I mean, that's going to be obviously stupid. Like, I don't know.
Let me just.
What's stupid about that?
How do you determine who inherits that from you? Like, what's the determination there?
Because you can see the female nature as described in the scripture.
So, what is the female nature, and how do you describe it? How do you discern it?
It has things like pain during childbirth. It gets pregnant, grows babies.
Oh, what about women who can't get pregnant?
Even women who can't get pregnant have the necessary gametes. Even not the necessary gametes, they have the organs for the gametes. So all the things that you would expect upon someone receiving the nature of a woman, if they have it, then you discern them as a woman. But the point is,
what about women who have
real, in our view, it's a really distinct nature that has really distinct properties, and both material and immaterial. So even if you want to dispute the material contents, they're distinguished by their souls too. One soul,
you have no idea.
One soul inherits the curse of Eve, and the other one inherits the curse of Adam.
Right. That's a very
Let's stop there. We can't go that further with that. I wanted to, this analogy.
Yeah, because you're cooked.
Yeah, we're cooked. This analogy I made, which might have looked silly at first when I was using like bishop and whatever, I don't think it's that bad, right? Because it's a language function, this thing where you have this he, she, from in many languages, I don't know what those languages are called, but I speak one of them. It's gender neutral for everybody. So that particle or whatever that's supposed to be he or she is the same for either gender. And even during your conversation, you might not even need to refer to them as a man or just one. So it's a language artifact. So in order for you to like call someone she, her, even if you don't think she's a woman, you don't need to think that person is a woman. You can just treat those things as a title. So this thing about ontology, back to the ontology of the. Why can't you do that when you would do that?
This is what I'm saying. I'm all for descriptors here, but the second you make this moral imperative and I ought to do that.
But they've already answered that.
Wait. I was referring to Dave. I don't want you. You are doing the Eve thing, which is crazy. So I don't want you to.
He already answered this stuff. He just answered it.
Yes, leave it. Please don't.
He said it's because it's advocating for other things he doesn't support.
I don't want to move you. Please stop. Let me. I'm reframing it because at first it looked crazy that the title versus this thing. But my point is, you don't need to think that person is actually like a woman in order to actually like use for a polite conversation. Maybe you just is a stranger. You're just gonna like chat for like a minute and they'll have to go. You're not gonna have a deep philosophical conversation with them about whether they're really a woman later. It's just like maybe you're gonna just like buy a packet of tea and interact with that person and something about he came up. I don't see why you can't really do that, even if you thought that person wasn't a woman, just to make sure that you don't have this clash and all these kind of like bad blood or like hurt their feelings or whatever, right? Just like I see that as more and more analogous to me saying, no, I'm not going to call you a priest because I don't really think your God exists and stuff like that. It's just title. The he, her thing is not such a big deal.
Okay. If I could quickly recap though on the point, the last point with Albedo, and then I'll try to hit that point as well about a title. I also wanted to just say I think it's a little more incumbent on the advocate of like using pronouns like trans way to give a definition of what they think a woman is, and on me to give an analysis of what a female is, because from what I understand, like the concept of a female, that is shared on both sides of the debate. So like even if we have a little bit of difficulty like drawing the precise boundaries of female, it is a concept shared between both sides of it. So in principle, we should be able to refer to it, even if we can't give a precise analysis of it. When it comes to the concept of a gender identity, like that's not something that's even agreed upon by both sides of the debate to exist in the first place.
I find it a little nebulous as to what we're talking about. So I think it is a little more, I think it's like a higher burden or whatever on the advocate of using pronouns that way to provide an analysis of what it is to be, to have a gender identity, just because it's not something that I acknowledge to exist in the way that they already acknowledge that females exist. With respect to the point that Chris was making, yeah, you could use pronouns as, purely as titles. The problem is that at that point, I just say call them by name. I had a coworker that I worked with for a while, and she, wanted me to call her by they, them pronouns, and I respectfully explained to her that, look, the way I use these terms, I think they pick out facts about us. I don't want to offend you, so how about I just call you by your name and try to not use pronouns at all? And that worked. She was cool with that, and that's what we went with. So the reason why I think I'm a little more reluctant to use, pronouns as titles is because I take these to have meanings, right? So for the same reason that, I'm not going to call somebody here, Your Majesty, or, King, or, whatever, Prince, because, just because I want to. Yeah, I could just use that as a title, but these titles have, associated meanings with them, so it's kind of misleading to call somebody by that in a way that, if you wanted me to call you by a nickname or something, it wouldn't be. So that's kind of my response.
Okay, I'm actually now. I forgot you said. Wait. I heard you said that before, and I just forgot. I think it's fine since because the reason why I was persistent, I thought you would go out of your way and call them the pronoun that they didn't want. If you were gonna just not use any pronouns and just use their name, I think that's kind of you are trying to not offend them. You're trying to be social to them. That's good with me. You don't need to while I was just being persistent, I was thinking that you were gonna just pick the other pronoun you thought they were and start enforcing that. And I thought that would really be mean. If you're gonna use their name,
so I got a question about that.
That's what I heard him say too, Chris.
Okay, well, sorry, I do want to take a question, but real quick. There's two different settings. So, if it was the case of the coworker there who, somebody I was trying to get along with, and I genuinely thought had mental issues and things like that, yes, that must be the case where I would just use different. If it's a more charged antagonistic situation where the person's trying to use this as, trying to beat me over the head with it, I might actually just, kind of go into vegetarian mode and actually just refer to them by what I think they are. So I would change based on the context, but in general, yes, I would try to just go.
There's another context, though.
I got a question.
But that's 1 second before we move on, though. There's another context.
That's the same.
What if it's not antagonistic? What if it's just somebody correcting you?
The issue is with the terminology. Correcting implies that they are that I was wrong about that. Correct. I fundamentally don't accept that. I don't accept that framing.
You wouldn't accept that your perception was wrong.
In a situation where the person is actually a female that is wanting me to refer to them with
you don't know.
Well, again, I'm gonna go based on the best evidence that I have. Right. And yeah, their testimony alone, particularly given the cultural climate that we live in, that's not going to be sufficient to override the evidence.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough evidence for you.
Correct.
See, this is why I think it's ridiculous because, I hate to bring up these ridiculous. Not ridiculous. Say you perceive somebody to be a man, but they're a woman, and when this woman corrects him, he's not going to give a shit. He's going to take that as antagonistic, in fact.
I think you're taking this as the wrong thing. I think what Dave trying to say is he going to agree with them and then you're going to go back to
reject your set of preferences, am I wrong?
That's what I was going to ask. How much wronger is he for rejecting this shit? That's trying to tell
I'm not talking about
another way. Are they not wrong for telling me that I got to accept them or
exactly?
You're taking this a little too personal, I think.
No, I'm just asking.
We asking about the psychosis.
I'm just flipping it over. Because y'all saying Dave wrong for wanting to be an asshole and say just what he say because of what he feel, what he perceived. But why ain't the other person wrong for having to try to make him actually, you know what I'm saying, move away that you don't want to move.
Why should I choose your set of preferences over mine?
If somebody walks up to Dave and says hello, somebody looks like Grizzly Adams, Dave's not going to care.
I didn't hear that.
That's a woman.
Their question. Why should they?
Dave's not going to care that that's a woman, a sensitive woman.
That's to you too, Chris.
I don't know why you're talking.
It's a simple question. Why are you taking your preferences over theirs, or why should they take your preferences?
Yeah, why is Dave talking to the other person and trying to tell him?
Why do psychosis is
Why are you enforcing your preferences of speaking over mine of not hearing you?
Yeah,
it's the same thing. So you get his answer.
That's the point.
Yeah, I think I just did.
Is you should. We're asking why you should take your preferences over our own.
Yeah, why am I so wrong for that?
So Dave's just going to continue to think that this woman, who happens to look like Grizzly Adams, should have he, him pronouns.
Asking of his
even though
again,
I didn't say my mind could be changed on that.
I didn't hear you say that.
I would like to
hear it now.
They said that mad times.
I'm just trying to point out, David, that that's what you're thinking leads to.
And what we
but I mean, the point, how many scenarios are you actually going to be in that?
And how wrong is that? Like, what is?
I think in general society is fed up. Most of us are fed up with the trans stuff.
Stop being
like
so
in
defensive.
2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, we were trying it on for size. We really were. We were trying it on for size, and people said, you have to refer to somebody this way. You don't want to be a jerk. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to be respectful. You want me to call you Zippity Zimzer? That's what Tom Segura has in a special.
And here's the difference.
I don't know why you're interrupting. Why are you interrupting me though?
Because
I've been on mute for a long time.
Because the point has been made. The point has been made. And here's my point.
What is my point then?
I didn't have to be.
Before you rudely interrupt me and assume that you know what I'm saying, why don't you do me the courtesy of reflecting my point back to me, sir? What was my point then? Since you know what my point was, why don't you go ahead and make it for me?
Do you want to
and that way,
reiterate
if
the
you
point
get it
more?
wrong, you won't have to rudely cut me off, and you'll nicely allow me to continue. So please go ahead. What was my point?
You're just bitching about people trying to tell you what to do.
No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. That's very fucking rude. No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. And you're not a moderator in this room, and so I'm not going to obey you. Just because you want to interrupt me and talk, I'm not going to let you do that. It was my turn to talk. I waited my turn kindly. I do not need to be interrupted by you, and you're not going to win this one. I'm not going to let you interrupt me. I have the ability to continue. Not going to hear it. Nobody is going to hear you. I'd like to make my point. I'd like to finish making my point.
I'm going to take my dummy.
Somebody tell JJ to stop interrupting me, and I will easily be able to calm down and return to normal and continue making my point, which I was making very briefly and saliently and eloquently. Yeah, don't fucking interrupt me, okay?
It was too
eloquent.
for
I will continue. My point is, we were trying it on for size. We were trying the little transgender bullshit, and then we figured out that all of those people are fucking crazy and we're not respecting their delusions anymore. Thank you. I am complete.
God bless America.
Wow.
And God bless America.
Even in repeating himself, it was much shorter. How did that happen?
Because he dumbed it down for you.
Yeah, and you didn't like being told what to do. But the point is,
you're a rude fucking asshole, sir. You're a rude person. And I would talk to you this way offline. I don't appreciate the fact that I was on mute for the past hour, listening to you debate with a lot of different people. And when I finally wanted to chime in, you have not heard my voice before, and you did not respond with any curiosity. And I think that that is very rude. And I don't want to respect you and your delusions anymore.
I'm sorry that there's not a show.
I'm sorry that we don't want to play along with the stupid fucking tranny bullshit anymore. Why don't you go find a shoulder to cry on? Why don't you go find a therapist? Why don't you go find a therapist? You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me to not say the F word. And the only reason... is out of respect for Andrew. Out of respect for Andrew, I am not going to violate Andrew's space because I like Andrew, and I'm not. You can't expect to.
Stop. I'm just gonna spam the mute button. Nobody's gonna hear you. Please stop.
Yeah, how is it muting me too?
It's muting everybody. I moved to the audience because it's just unmuting and just continuing.
You know, my friend Trashbag, just respect moderation.
Yeah, but Bob, do you not think that JJ's being unfair and that?
Sorry, I just came back to.
Yeah, you know what, JJ?
Maybe.
Well, let me tell you, we eventually gave Brent the opportunity to finish, and he finished, and then continued fighting JJ. It's unnecessary.
You know, JJ continued to interrupt me every time I spoke, and nobody checked JJ, and nobody moved JJ to the audience.
Okay, but
I believe that.
Look, but it's cool. It's over, bro. You don't gotta.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm about to go inside here.
Okay.
Well, so I
have a question for Dave too. Before you guys debate him again, I saw you tell Danny.
No, we're not gonna do some other nonsense, like I'm asking a DM or something. We're discussing no, because it relates to something completely different.
Dave, do you want to answer my question?
I'm cool with it, but if that's not the purposes of this.
It's just a little weird to be like, oh, hold up, I'm gonna ask about this completely different thing.
Well, Bob, do you want to continue talking about the trans thing?
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask you something.
Is it not tired, bro? Are you not tired of the trans thing?
Sorry, I was gonna ask you something. Were you the one who said if you had an acquaintance or something like that, a coworker who you knew was kind of bothered by it, you would, and they asked you whether you would just use their preferred pronouns in that case?
I would not use their pronouns. I'd probably try to avoid pronouns and just refer to them by their proper name, if at all possible.
Oh, sorry, then I must have misheard. But do you not think, what I don't understand about this, I don't accept the linguistic appeal. I think that's just it's like when some religious people claim that their issue with homosexuality is that, transmission rates of venereal disease. They obviously don't give a fuck about that. And it feels like a lot of times I feel like the linguistic appeal is something like that. Now you expanded on that. You said you feel like you're affirming some ideology that you don't agree with. The way I kind of see it is we have this issue about trans people. They have gender dysphoria. They're mentally unwell. I think everyone agrees on that. But then we differ on what types of prescriptions are adequate or appropriate. And my thing is kind of if the overwhelming medical science tells us that, okay, pharmacology doesn't seem to work very well, like medicine, talk therapy doesn't seem to work very well. What does seem to work pretty well is gender affirming care. And part of gender affirming care is affirming their pronouns. And this is not every single psychiatrist thinks this, but the overwhelming majority of them do. And this is the guidelines for the psychiatric intervention guidelines for almost every Western country. Isn't that a good enough reason to do it? Do you not care that these people are unwell and the way they are made well, as far as we know, according to our bed ending, is that their genders are affirmed? Is that not?
Yeah, I guess. But are you sure that information is true? Because where did you read that? I'd like to know.
Oh my god, that's near either right there. For the sake of argument, they pretend that is accurate. We can dispute that, but.
Well, I was going to say my first point is I'm not altogether convinced myself, and I don't again claim to have delved into the research here, but I'm certainly very skeptical that that is actually what quote unquote are best.
Why are you skeptical?
Well, because one, from what I understand, we don't have a lot of long-term data on these people. I know it's like a highly
what we do have points in that direction, at least. We agree.
Do we? I mean, overall, my understanding is our evidence for that consists of some experts saying so. If you have something more to that,
but there's like hundreds of studies done on this, and they all point kind of in the same direction. Not saying every single one of them says it to the same degree. Yeah, but they all kind of put. Yeah, like Stanford has this like meta-analysis of like 88 studies or something.
That's not hundreds.
No, that's one example. No, that's. I'm just saying.
88. I don't believe hundreds.
All right. I'm just saying, yeah. Even if you want to say we don't have like longitudinal studies to say like, oh, over the course of 25 years, gender affirming care is the right idea. But at the very least, the science that we do have seems to point in that direction. Not saying, like, can't we even agree on that? Like a kind of like a very soft claim of saying, okay, maybe we don't have the kind of rigorous long-term studies that you might want, but in the meantime, the studies that we do have seem to, at the very least, point in that direction.
Well, okay, and so if you want studies, okay, it's a book called Lost in Translation by Dr. Miriam Grossman. And she talked about this exact same thing. And she's like, a lot of these doctors say, okay, well, do you want a live son or a dead daughter? They tell it, the parents this, that, and the other. And she was pointing out, because this woman is a physician, she said that, okay, number one, we don't know what are the long-term effects of these things because the studies don't exist, because it hasn't been an issue long enough to get that information. That's point number one. Point number two is another book that I read called Detrans by a woman. That's actually what it's called. And I think she told the stories of like 4 people who were like detransitioned. It's this thing called Amazon. If you do a Google search, you'll find it. And I actually have reviews. I wrote reviews of all the books. If you want me to put the links in the back channel, I can do it. But what I'm saying is that the one, Miriam Grossman is one person, and then the one who wrote the book Detrans, she says that it's like, a lot of people, when they have these surgeries and things like that, because they're so experimental, she's like, it's like side effects for the rest of your lives.
Sorry. Like, what point are you addressing right now?
What I'm saying, if you're saying, the studies tell us, I'm saying I can't say that the studies tell us any such thing because it's not been an issue long enough for us to even get the information. If you're talking about like a 30-year longitudinal study, that's number one. Okay, and then the second
I addressed this already.
You said meta-analysis, okay? And if you have
no, I'm saying I addressed the longitudinal point by saying, okay, even if we agree that like the 30-year, I don't know why we would wait so long, like no other medical issue is, or even like mental health issues, the bar isn't 20, 30 years of longitudinal studies. Like that's nowhere in medical science. That's like a completely made up threshold that trans people, anti-trans people like to draw out of their ass. But the point is, I specifically addressed this by saying, okay, we don't have, like conceding for a moment, we don't have that 30-year study. But of the studies that we do have, they seem to at least, with some moderate strength of correlation, point in one direction.
What about those? Correlation? What is the strength of the correlation?
That gender affirming care seems to be the best way of mitigating.
You said moderate strength of correlation. I was just trying to get a number.
Right. I don't have a number. I'm just saying, whatever. What do you mean number?
Well, I mean, like the correlation coefficient is somewhere between 0 and 1.
Oh, if you specifically mean anywhere from around 0.3 to 0.6, somewhere around there.
All right, that's an awful lot of.
Or even milder. Let's say. Even milder. Let's say it's like 0.1 to 0.4, like it's something like that. Even that would give us good reasons to act in that capacity. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was gonna say, I am skeptical that is actually what the evidence indicates. But let's put that to one side and just entertain for a moment. Our scientific evidence actually did do that. It would depend, because now we're kind of it's going to be like a trade-off here. Is the health of the very small number of the population who suffers from gender dysphoria, is sort of accommodating them, like pragmatically worth potentially the other damage that this.
What is the other damage?
Essentially, undermining deeply entrenched categories of men and women.
What is that?
Which certainly some of us view that as very important to, a society and a culture. It seems like that's a pretty fundamental shift in culture, and of course, there's going to be downstream effects from that. So, it would be a question ultimately of whether how you want to weigh that out with part of the sort of benefits better than the costs would sort of be my answer.
Right, but what is the damage though?
Sorry, say one more time. I missed that.
Yeah. Fuck. I have to be off mic for a bit.
Yeah, he said, "What is the damage, Dave?" And by the way, Dave, just to put a pin in it, a separate thing. I do want to talk to you about Jazz and Phil about the problem of evil. And
that's what I was going to ask about. I was going to ask him something.
Yeah.
He said the problem of evil.
Yeah. We'll definitely get to that. But Dave, what Bob was asking, I don't know if Bob, hopefully you're able to hear. But he just said, "What is the damage?" Right? I think even if it's uprooting the entrenched norms, why is that damaging? I think is what he's saying.
Well, I think it's damaging to our culture and our sort of general outlook to the world. Tallying what all the downstream effects from there are, I really don't know, but it'd be hard for me to believe there wouldn't be any more prolonged effects that would come from sort of changing something that fundamental to our culture.
But this is what you're asking. You're asking, we shouldn't help these people who feel bad right now and who need help right now, based on some extremely vague and nebulous quote-unquote harm that's being done to the quote-unquote culture, and some appeal to eventual possible downstream effects that we're not certain about. That seems strange.
No, right. My primary objection is I don't actually think that is what our best scientific evidence supports. I was saying, granting you that, then it would be, a concern about sort of the trade-offs between the benefits from that versus potential damage to the culture. I haven't necessarily weighed those things myself. Again, I don't accept the premise of the question in the first place. But I was just trying to say that's where it looks to me like the conversation goes if I granted you that premise.
Sure, but I'm saying I understand that you're granting that for the sake of argument. I'm just saying, what is this granted that for the sake of argument? I don't understand what this. So the idea is we shouldn't help these people who are in desperate need of help now because of some vague nebulous ideas about cultural harm that can't be explicated or in any reasonable way, and possible downstream effects that we're unaware of to the fabric of society. All of the harm that you're appealing to is very, very intangible to me, but the benefits seem very tangible. That's the kind of issue I have with these types of responsive or attitudes.
Yeah, and to be fair, that wasn't quite my response. I wasn't saying we don't help these people. I was saying we don't, or potentially if it turned out that the costs, were worse than the benefits, then we would help them in other ways, not that we wouldn't help them.
No, but these other ways don't have any demonstrable efficacy. Like what other ways?
I don't think that yours does either.
No, but I do. I can drop you esteemed meta-analysis from esteemed medical institutions on this topic. Can you do the same?
We can show you the word of God saying what's actually good for you.
All right, stop it.
Yeah, so I say, why ought I
That's
believe?
literally what we believe.
Where are you smuggling in this moral imperative that I should believe this?
Sorry, good. Just let me remember the problem.
That's literally what.
So, Dave, what kind of empirical data can you bring to bear for your side? I mean, I can if I just look right now, I'm going to be able to find multiple meta-analyses probably kind of pointing in my direction, the direction I want to point to. Can you do the same?
No, as I said from the beginning, this is not my field that I dig into. But suffice to say, I'm very, very skeptical of sort of.
No, but you're skeptical for no reason, though. You're skeptical.
I am. Are you going to deny that we live in a culture where there's incredible pressure to find support for something like that? I mean, I think that is reason to.
No, but
not
There's also
accept it
plenty
just
of-
because you happen to be able to, find.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree with that, but then you would just that doesn't at all explain the overwhelming empirical data pointing in that direction. Like there's basically nothing. It's not that there aren't environments. It's not that there aren't powerful money and interests motivated to push in the other direction. Like I don't get this point. There just isn't that data.
Well, we have the Bible. Chris recorded the Bible.
J4 structural.
I mean, if we're going to question, look at the studies right here, and it's saying that, like, the evidence that I'm looking at the metric of like the bad rates, and I'm looking and it's saying that there's no consistent. The data is not consistent. Some of them are saying that the suicide rate is actually 4 times higher after the transition, and some of them are saying that it's substantially lower. So I mean, it's like
the people who say that, they reference a Swedish study, but they take like the Swedish study isn't comparing post-op to pre-op; it's comparing post-op to the general population.
All right, let's take a look at that Swedish study.
Like that's one of the most referenced pieces of scientific literature that the anti-trans people cite, but like none of them have actually read it because it doesn't say what the equipment says. It's just like become this meme that people pass around without having read it at all because they don't actually care.
I don't believe you read it.
Okay, I mean, you control all you want.
Here's maybe a concession that I could make would be if it turned out to be the case that you're correct that this was going to save most lives, and if it turned out to be the case that there were no greater downstream cultural, negative cultural effects from that, then I wouldn't actually have a problem with that. That's a pragmatic argument that I could at least understand, if not get behind. So I mean, I can make that concession, I suppose.
Sure. And that's actually really appreciated because a lot of people won't make that concession because what they do is like they pretend like they have these types of concerns, but what their actual concerns are something different. It's like trans ick or whatever.
My primary concern is I just don't think there's an intelligible idea of a gender identity as something over and above sex.
I mean, I disagree with that, but that's a conversation. That's a different comment.
Okay, so
yeah, what's up, bro?
Can I ask my question now?
Yeah, now you control.
Okay. You said that all things considered, evil is actually good. You remember?
Oh, you mean you're
I think I'd say I'd say nothing is evil and all things considered sense.
Oh wait, okay, good. When you say all things considered, that just means considering these other things occur simultaneous and with this thing occurring, then from that this thing is also good. But why couldn't you just say it's an evil thing occurring with a good thing?
Well, I mean, I could. It depends, though, on what you mean by evil. So, as I've understood the argument, as Danny puts it forward, perhaps to a lesser degree, as Jack puts it forward, what they mean by evil is just protons over. So they just mean evil in this whole things considered sense. So that's what it's effectively built into the definition.
But I'm saying
it seems like the way you're using it is not in that sense.
All things, but it is all things considered because you're just saying they're both true at the same time. That's all you're saying is considered. So all things considered, evil is still evil. It's just happening with a good thing. Then
again,
unless you're saying they mean something else by evil.
I think what they mean by evil is something that I think they define it as something like evil is that which should not occur, all things considered. And I don't think there's anything that occurs that shouldn't occur, all things considered.
But evil should not occur, all things considered.
If that's what you mean by the term, then I would say there is no evil.
No. So evil is something that should not occur, even in consideration of all things. Even in consideration of all things now, what we call evil should not occur.
I don't think I'm clear on how you're using the term.
Okay. What does it mean to say it should not occur?
So, again, I'm not a moral realist, right? So I understand the acts of evil or sin to be essentially understood in terms of violations of God's laws. That's what I mean by it. And so obviously you could have those things occur. Violations of God's law occur and God can still exist. But again, I don't think that's what Jack and Danny mean by the term.
Okay, hold on. Let me read you 1 John 1:5. Do you know what 1 John 1:5 says?
Sorry, you cut out for a second. You said, do I know 1 John what?
1 John 1:5.
Probably, but not off the top of my head.
Where it says that God is only light, and that light is goodness, and in Him is only light and no darkness.
Yep, definitely heard the verse before.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it up. Okay, so I don't remember which verse it is, but I'm trying to pull it up. When you keep reading, it says sin is included in that part of this, and that the sin is also something that's not in God. So the evil and sin and darkness is what the Bible defines as something that's not in God in any way. So if Danny's asking about evil, and he's saying it's a thing that, considering all other things, is something that happened, that's saying should not in relation to God's nature. So either way, it still should not happen in relation to God's nature, according to 1 John 1:5. So if you say
I don't think I understand what point you're trying to make.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't think I understand what point you're trying to make here.
Because you said all things considered, evil is good.
I said all things considered, nothing is evil. In the sense required for Danny's argument.
No, but in specific, you said evil is good.
I don't believe I've ever actually said that.
Did you? Shit, maybe I remember wrong.
I mean, it's possible I did. That certainly be an imprecise way of speaking or a major blooper on my part if I did.
Okay.
But
That's really all I had a problem with that, if you didn't say that.
Okay, I don't recall ever saying that. It's possible I did. If I did, I probably misspoke, or I guess I'd have to hear the specific context I said it in. But if I said that, I was either being imprecise or probably misspoke.
Okay. That's fine. And it's crazy because given you did say that, because that's how I remember it. You said it, and I'm like, what the fuck did he just say? And Danny still didn't have an answer to it. He just got sunlocked, bro. He still didn't know what to say.
Yeah, I kind of found Danny and Jack to be thin on defenses for the proposition that there actually is such a thing as gratuitous suffering.
Well, it seemed they weren't prepared to defend any of the propositions they were arguing for in that debate.
Well, to be fair, they came prepared to debate Christianity, and me and my debate opponent were trying to debate theism versus atheism. And again, that goes back to the kind of misunderstanding that happened.
Yeah, but you really think Danny and Monkey Boy had to re-practice arguments, bro? They do it all day. That's as good as they're gonna get, bro.
seen Danny do good in debates. I know he can debate. I wouldn't say that he's a terrible debater or anything like that.
Did you say can or can't?
Can. Danny can debate.
Yeah, I think he's a good debater, actually. I don't even think he's bad. I just think, there's levels.
Yeah, well, I also realize I've got some pretty out there views on some things, so I think his arguments are more tailored against.
That's true. I didn't notice that. That's true.
His arguments are more designed to go against, I think, someone who's perhaps not willing to bite some of the bullets that are what might be considered bullets that I'm willing to bite.
Ooh, hey, Brother Incan, get up here. I just invited you up, buddy. You need to meet Dave. Now, Dave, in your humble opinion, when you guys did clash over the problem of evil, do you think you adequately responded?
I think, I'm trying to remember what it was. There was some issue. Yeah, he was trying to get me down, like, in what modality.
I remember that part, bro.
Yeah. I think I didn't do the best there. I think I should have just said logical modality or thought about it, but I don't think I did the best at that part. I do think I, perhaps not as clearly as I would have hoped, but I think I did show that Danny can have a direct argument that there is such a thing as gratuitous evil, and that was more or less what I was attempting to do.
I can actually help you out with that, but I don't remember what they said.
K9 is great, Dave, because he'll be like giving a really in-depth response to somebody, and he'll be like, let me finish, right? And he'll be giving the response, and all of a sudden he'll be like, wait, what was I just saying? And he's like, remind me if you would. And then they tell him, and he's like, okay, now I got it. He's like, I'm gonna finish destroying you. Now shut up, let me finish. But he every once in a while he'll refer to them and ask them to help him remember what he just said. Literally in the previous sentence, he's like, I gotta quit smoking so much pot. It's pretty awesome, Dave. It's pretty epic. Yeah, so I think I told you, Dave, Brother Albedo is now a Christian, right? Bob's working on it. We got to get him there. Bob has a few hang-ups. I'm a big fan of the atonement. He's not a big fan of the Old Testament. Certain, the atrocities of God, and he thinks the Trinity, I think he thinks the Trinity is problematic. Well, actually, I don't know if not so much the logical problem of the Trinity, but more just the inexplicability or, the lack of purpose for the Holy Spirit being part of the Trinity, I think is something Bob has kind of touched on before. Be interested.
I might be able to help out in the arenas of Testament issues and the Trinity. I don't know if I'm going to be much help on the atonement because, as you know, I hold pretty strongly to a penal substitutionary theory of the atonement. And
I do too.
Guess that's probably one self-putting to.
Is that something that you think? But can you reason? Can you show that your position is reasonable there, or is it going to have to be strongly informed by other commitments of Scripture? And it's just kind of more oh well, I just accept it because I think it's what Scripture teaches, or do you think it's actually a reason? You can connect all the dots and make it make sense.
Like a lot of these issues, I really think it's going to turn on sort of one's methodology and, in particular, the role that they ascribe to intuitions. So, I'm not an intuitionist. I think intuitions are basically worthless, so they don't feature into my thought at all. That is apparently an unpopular position to take these days. A lot of people, particularly philosophically atheists and skeptics, are really in touch with their intuitions. They give their intuitions a lot of weight. And 99% of the objections that I encounter to penal substitutionary atonement are just based on it being in conflict with someone's moral intuition. So, I mean, I can go to the mat on that, right, and argue why I don't think intuition should be trusted. But that's
yeah. Well, let me ask you on that because I'm strong on the PC stuff, you know. And I think I do think it's legit. So I'm. How do you even like navigate? I mean, do you live this way, Dave? I mean, don't you like operate according to your intuitions? Like when you feel like somebody's wronged you, when you think something's unjust, when you look at the ICE shootings, isn't your evaluation and the stuff that you choose to even look at and the way that you like weigh the cases strongly colored by your intuition, regardless of you're stating that it has low epistemic value or whatever. I mean, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I certainly don't believe so. I'm not consciously relying on any intuition, so I can certainly say that. People constantly tell me that I am, but like when we look at it, looks to me like I'm depending on background knowledge or some sort of like subtle abductive, inductive, or deductive inference, or perhaps like a direct acquaintance with something. So like generally these sorts of conversations just evolve into kind of a conversation about my whole overarching epistemology. And generally, I find that I'm relying on that. I have yet to find the person who can actually show me that I'm relying on intuitions. Usually the claims are coming from people who they suspect like I'm the online atheist who like is kind of naively projecting intuitions and hasn't actually like thought about this all and have an informed opinion on it. So they think they can like trot out some traditional examples where supposedly we're depending on intuitions and be like, oh, you think you're depending on intuitions in these cases? And then like when I show I'm not, then like that sort of the conversation doesn't go any further.
Yeah. Real quick, because we just popped back in, it's like an intermission thing. Lee takes this position. He's kind of bizarre, Dave, but he says he finds the questions of God and purpose of life and all the things that we talk about, morality, everything. He finds it all to be like pointless, and that we're like, why are we even having these discussions? And he thinks it's just kind of like just a massive waste of time. What do you think of that?
So is he like in a category of like an atheist, like someone who just doesn't care about these questions?
Yeah, what would you say, Lee? Is that how you describe yourself? You just don't care? You're an atheist or something like that? Lee? Right. See if he comes to the mic. Yeah, he might be away. We'll give him a second. Lee, when you if you can come back to the mic. But yeah, so Dave, we can circle back to that if he speaks. I'll just say that. So if I'm driving and I want to park my car, right, and I have to go around this parade to get to the parking spot, why not just drive through? Apart from let's just say. Let's just say I won't get caught, right? I know that I won't get caught. And we can set it up such that, without me going through the work, we can just set it up to where I know that I won't get caught, right? And you know it, right? In the hypothetical. Why ought I not just drive through the parade of people and just park?
So we're saying like in a scenario where it doesn't even have to be this one, but some scenario where I know I won't face any consequences for it, why shouldn't you do something?
Let's say just right. And apart from God saying don't do it, because let's just say that I don't have that. I don't believe in God or I'm an agnostic or something.
Okay, let's say God doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, the only thing I would have left to appeal to is somebody's values. If they just fundamentally don't care about human life, or worse, they're totally cool with it. I don't really think they have any other resources to appeal to tell that person why they shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, why shouldn't they just treat a human like an animal, right? We eat animals, so why should I care about humans? Like just seemed like, if you had something like a conscience and you had something that said, hey, there's something that seems wrong here, that would have a lot of weight, right? That moves a lot of people, right? You can kind of prick their conscience. You can appeal to their conscience. You can give them intuition punch, right? But if you think that those things are just not something that should be really traded in, kind of seems like you're really cutting out a huge section or portion of like the human experience and your ability to reason as such,
Well, presumably, if somebody has those sorts of intuitions or feeling the prick of their conscience or whatever, I mean, that's presumably like based in a stance or something at least that would oppose killing people or needlessly killing people, let's say. So, I mean, it's like I say.